Howdy, folks. Welcome to Mosaic Team 5, our original Starfinder campaign. I am your game master this evening and most. My name is Joe Treff, and joining me are my friends Matt, Dan, Kara, Olive, and Ariana. I don't know.
Ariana! Whoa, am I in trouble?
You're in trouble.
Oh.
No, Dan threw me up because he was saluting us over there.
It's like, Joe's never even called me Ariana ever.
No, I don't think I ever
You know
have.
you're in trouble when someone gives your full middle and last name because you're
Yeah.
always thrown off by like, oh no, my parents, they know the whole thing.
Oh man, I'm gonna do something really funny at break. I just thought of a good joke for you. Thank you for joining us for this session of Starfinder. We're gonna get into that in just a second. Before we do, a couple of quick announcements. Give me just one moment.
It's May the 4th.
It is May the 4th, and so what actually made me really laugh was Dan's space battle themed costume. That is just and the salute. It's just really great.
Don't worry, I'm gonna miss all my shots as a stormtrooper tradition.
Nice. I don't know what those are because not a sponsor, but that's fantastic. It is May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you and all of that. We all have, some of us have theme related to that. Everybody is pajamas in some sort, and so kind of a mixed theme right now.
My pajamas have stars on them, so
Oh.
there
There you go. Look at that. It's a crossover.
Starfinder.
So happy May the 4th. There's two different ways that you can support the channel with bits, with channel points. Channel points you accumulate just by watching. You can use those to steer the direction of the Spice Resettlement Fund. I gotta think of a better way to just kind of term it all, but where Spice's friends are going to settle and probably where we're going to pick up an arc, either in the Eclipse Mall or Ars Bay. And then, bits are Twitch's microcurrency. This is something that you buy directly. It really supports the stream. Those will impact the story directly in the session that they're used. In the description below, there is a bunch of different ways in which you could use them. And then we have @AlberonRPG on Instagram, on other social media. That is where we post pictures of all different kinds of things. Things like, let me pull up our close-up camera. Here's our battlefield. It's actually our spaceship right now. But that and other kinds of things, much easier to see on Instagram.
Trinkets.
Courts of Everest is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is our D&D campaign. We are on session 16 there. And then finally, for digital sound effects like this upbeat, jaunty music that is known as Fiddles McGinty, Sirenscape, digital tool set for nice, upbeat, fiddly music. And with that, I'm going to shift our tone, although not a terrible amount, for our recap.
Tool set.
John says hi, and I always forget to tell you guys, but every week he says hi, so
Hi, John.
Hey,
John.
Every week.
every week I never remember. Now I'm publicly calling myself out for it.
Excellent.
And then you put
And
my
then they end up
dinosaur.
making out and they get married.
Mosaic Team 5.
Hi.
Last that we played, you finished up business at the Eclipse Mall. At long last. Prepared to go off for your next bounty. Mari and Meeg stay behind at the Eclipse Mall until they can figure out their next steps. Gibbs, you swapped out your broken communicator for a new one, later breaking it again.
It's not that broken. I put it in rice.
That's... You persuaded Peep to join you at the Diner in the Drift, your next destination, to cash in on a favor and upgrade your starship. You took off, with Shade dropping your ship into drift space. Echo and Bubs, you used the day trip to form the beginnings of your garden, planting a few seeds and co-opting Gibbs's drone to make it a mobile planter bed. Bubs, you also took a little bit of time to call your mentor, Steel, and inquired about a few things that you learned on Akaton about spice. Echo, you took this brief opportunity, the only real moment that you had to yourself, to begin tuning up your Corsus Flop, the sort of communicator cell phone hybrid that you had acquired to engage in some private communications. Meanwhile, Spice, you sulked in the cargo bay by the light of the Driftmas tree, reflecting on your time in the place that you once called home. Gibbs, you took a break from loudly complaining about your drone being used to comfort Spice and remind her that she had done well. Shade, you called a family breakfast.
Yay!
Which saw Shade, literally my favorite part of the last session, which saw Shade address issues that have been plaguing him since Dr. Maldras. Gibbs, you learn for the first time that you had hurt Shade. And Shade asked for all of you to get on the same page, for the first time stating that he would take on the role as captain, but naming Bubs as acting captain in his stead should anything happen. And ultimately, with the promise that Spice will take the rank once she'd reached a point at which she could take it successfully. This breakfast also saw the director initiate communication with all of you for the first time, congratulating you on doing well. The director confirmed that Mosaic was more than just a company, and that Mosaic Team 5 in particular had a greater purpose, but that still you were not cleared to know what that was. After a day in the Drift, you rendezvoused at Lola's Diner in the Drift with your supervisor, Peep. You met a nondescript Anubis Dynamics representative who gave you several upgrade choices, of which you finally chose a miniaturized cryo chamber, which I'll go grab in a second, sized to fit 4 medium creatures or 2 large ones. Once more, you return to your ship, now freshly outfitted with an Anubis Dynamics cryo chamber. Shade, you punched in the coordinates for the Siren system, and you all began a 3-day trip, and that is where we begin this evening.
4 small creatures are too large.
4 small creatures are too large.
So to be clear, it is April 3rd?
Give me 1 second. We hold the music.
It's past
You guys
April.
are
I think
splitting
so, because
my...
it was April Fool's Day.
It's May the
It was a
4th.
second to the start of the of last session. Give me 1 second here.
And the Sunday of the Golden Eyes Rebellion was on.
It is 5 a.m. April 3rd. And so, for all of you now, you can see on the various apparatus that you have around you, the screens, the readouts, the time that you are going to be in the drift begins to count down. You have 3 days, now you have 2 days, 23 hours, and it continues to tick. As you head towards Siren, a system that is well known for being perilous, what is it that you are all doing in this time that you have to yourselves?
Bubs is going to clean out the armory, and he's going to want to do something with Spice at some point. No, he's like moving like all of her, like the bed and some stuff out. And he's like going to go around the ship and like make some things, and we'll see.
Okay.
Wait, where are you putting your bed?
I'll probably put it against like the wall or something, like a Murphy bed or some sort of like.
This is like when people are moving out of college, you're like leaning everything in the hall to like dust things out. Cool.
Try to exit the cockpit, and there's a fucking mattress that fell over through the doorway.
Yeah, exactly. No problem. So you begin that process.
Yeah, it's gonna be like I'll probably do like the scene a little bit.
Yeah, little spring cleaning. So while Bubs is doing that, anything else that people are doing?
Captain?
I'm gonna start on that big old list of crafting things, regimenting a certain amount of time per day doing stuff with that.
Okay.
Then I don't remember if I initiated or just hinted at the scheduled training sessions as a team.
I don't recall, but
You had
So- No,
you said.
vaguely hinted at it.
Yeah.
And I think the way that you had hinted at it was Shade thinks that it's good that he did not bring up
Yeah.
that we are going to be waking up
Yes.
early and doing practice
Yeah,
sessions.
so I think day 2, we'll probably start to try to introduce that idea.
Okay.
And then also want to have the first therapy session, try to broach that topic with Spice.
Okay, so this is
All
kind of...
everybody needs her.
So this
I
is
call
one
James
of...
first.
Oh, God.
Oh, and also, of course, taking care of my sweet precious boy who's back from.
Of course. That's just assumed.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's also,
so
he's out of training too. He's got to get in on this.
Shade. It sounds like, in order to make this easier, though it is spread out over 3 days, day 1 you're doing some crafting.
Sure.
Day 2 you are broaching the subject of the team training sessions, which I'm so excited about.
Cool. Okay.
And then day 3 it sounds like you are therapy.
Cool. Good. Yes.
All right.
Therapy last.
Traditional sci-fi TTRPG topics.
Yes.
So for day 1, that is when you're going to do this.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So Bubs, you have day 1 in the armory. Anybody else for day 1?
day 1 gives half day, secure the med bay against the director using tinfoil and garbage. And we'll have a conversation with the director about that.
Okay.
Day 2, and cast a spell. Each day casting a spell,
Okay.
a specific spell. Day 2 is self-reflection and meditation. And day 3 is sulking and I don't know, whatever the results of the meditation are, I guess.
Okay. Okay, no
Probably
problem.
gonna be sulking.
Anybody
Probably
else-
sulking.
Anybody else for day 1?
Day 1, Echo is going to spend a bit of time trying to get said communicator up and running without director influence.
Okay.
Or Bub's influence.
Certainly without Bub's influence.
And I will tell Echo about my my tinfoil hat plan.
Okay.
Echo will just kind of nod, but also like think to themselves about how you've said it out loud, and therefore it's moot. And then, but we'll not voice that because
Right. Gibbs doesn't get that part. Gibbs, we're good.
Echo just nods.
Yeah.
And then also on day 1, Echo will like carry Nikolai around trying to find the best spot for Nikolai now that Nikolai is repotted. They learned about a bit about repotting when Bubs was like showing them that dirt is a thing.
Okay. And then Spice, anything for day 1?
Day 1, she pushes all of Gibbs's stuff off of her old bunk onto the floor and pouts in her old bunk.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh, my stuff! My stuff!
Spice doesn't say anything and it's just like on
So,
the inspo
Upon
sphere.
seeing Spice pout, could I say I finished my thing and go over to her?
Yeah, go for it. We'll start there.
Hey, babe, I know you're, like, kind of mad at me, and, like, maybe you had to, like, I don't know, deal with your anger somehow, so, like,
And he's gonna reach out his hand.
come at me, I have an idea.
She smacks it away and she goes, "How could you do that to me? I thought significant others are supposed to support each other.
Babe, just come on.
No! Get your hands off of me."
Babe, I promise I'm gonna make it up to you right now. You'll see.
Do you think I trust you after you left me to die at family breakfast?
It's a little dramatic.
Your girl
Spice.
Babe, will you just listen for like 1 second? Just come on, I promise I'm gonna make it up to you.
And he's gonna just grab her hand.
Please, just
Sure.
give me a chance.
Reluctantly takes it.
Okay. So Bubs and Spice.
Boxing match round.
I know. That is literally what I'm expecting.
Bubs has 2 shanks that he's made from 2 brothers.
One vibrates, one glows.
So
Oh boy.
Bubs has cleared out the armory, nearly cleared out the armory, except for a couple things that he's made or created or found. I'll describe it more.
Is this junk falls again?
You'll see.
Basically.
Basically, there's what you see is 4 things that are covered with white cloths in the room. And as the scene progresses, I'll explain and reveal them.
Yeah.
And Bubs is going to start by removing the first cloth, revealing some stolen art that Thaddeus took. Actually, I'm going to just take a little leap. I'm going to say it's like a statue or something.
There were a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple statues.
Yeah.
statues.
So, and I'm going to say that Bubs kind of converted the
biggest
statue. Say it's like a bald, like maybe like a Shakespeare or something like that. And Bubs probably like sanded down the round head to make it like bald like him. Maybe painted like a little orange birthmark on his side. And he's going to like pull down the cloth and he's going to look at Spice and go,
Babe, I want to make this a surprise for you, but
and he's going to have the hammer in his hand.
I made you an anger room. I figured, like, when people, like, pay money to, break stuff when they're angry with sledgehammers, I figured this would be, a good opportunity for you to work out your anger. And honestly, like, I think we could make this fun. Like, how about this?
And he's going to take out of his pocket the purple force field.
If you can break 3 out of the 4 things here, this purple force field is yours.
Is that the broken one from Harlax?
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Okay.
And Bubs doesn't know it either.
That's fair.
And if you lose, though, you have to stop being mad at me for my promotion.
I don't agree to this. No! This is... No, I cannot.
Bubs is gonna just turn the statue of Bubs.
You can't
face her.
bribe me
And
into forgiving
It's
you.
gonna look like a really like goofy looking Bubs, and he's like gonna hold it up like off like the pedestal that it's on. It's like,
Babe, whatever you want to say right now, whatever anger you have, take it out on ceramic bubbles.
She unclicks your magma hammer or whatever
Yeah.
from the armory wall and hits the statue.
okay. So
You should not be in here.
so yeah, I imagine Bubs probably takes a couple steps back while like holding it up, and I want you to roll for this.
Okay,
how
this
you
is
want-
fun.
How you want to do this?
Yeah,
job.
sure. Roll a d20. You're the one who wants it, so I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, no,
about.
I have a little.
Okay.
I don't know what
Yeah,
you
no,
want,
we'll
but,
see,
but
we'll-
interpret my desires.
It's a
Can we get
natural
some-
8.
Can we get some fun music?
Yeah, I want some wrestling music.
Some wrestling music.
Hardcore.
And with the
like,
chairs,
Yeah,
Spice
I
goes
love
in!
heavy metal.
And off the walls! Pew, pew, pew. Ah!
Oh, and the ceramic head is crushed because it's ceramic and you're hitting it with a magma hammer.
And it goes flying!
Well, babe, not when I'm holding it. No, babe.
Better watch out! She swings.
And so with an 8, as you swing, and if Bubbles is still holding it, ceramic Bubbles and regular Bubbles both take a full hit with that hammer. Go ahead and roll 2d6.
Don't mind if I do. A 1 and a 4.
Fantastic. So, Bubbles, you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage, and this clay, I mean, it was mostly kind of like resin and wood that was
Yeah.
kind of blended together to make a sculpture, but no problem. It shatters and splinters everywhere. There's sawdust and elements of like broken resin in the air. You cough a little bit. Also, it like hits you, it scrapes across your collarbone and then kind of like digs into your shoulder. So it hurts in this really like visceral way, and these 2 sharp little points right across the collarbone.
Oh, babe, you hurt real bubbles.
Spice is going to swing the hammer around in a circle, draw it back, and then go for another swing at actual
Oh,
bubbles.
no, babe.
Yeah, make
You
an
can
attack roll.
take it. Natural 20.
I was in my brain going, please give me a natural 20. Yeah,
It
go
was a
ahead.
natural
Roll for
20.
damage. Double
I
the
don't
results
have
in the dice roll.
I don't have your stats for your hammer.
So actually, just roll 2d6. We'll make this nice and express.
Having heard the
a
smash,
4 and a 3.
The door's locked.
Shade can open the door.
Gibbs is definitely lingering in the med
What
bay
is it?
door.
You want to go in through the med bay when the armory
No,
when
it's
you
the
hear
armory.
the
Well,
people
I'm
smashing?
crafting stuff. I have to put the weapons into the armory. I'm gonna open the door and I'm gonna see
was
what's
that?
going on and be like, oh, I'll come back
Well, I got
later.
a 4 and a 3.
Yeah,
on
but
my
what's the actual
defenses.
damage roll in the
We're
thing?
having sex.
4.
1d10.
Yeah, 1d10 and I rolled a 4.
A 4, okay, no problem.
How do you do so much damage
That is
with
10 points of bludgeoning damage as this hammer powers on and slams into you. You're holding like just the 2 shards of this, and it just goes right through. There's no mistaking it. Spice is attacking you.
Ow. Okay, all right, babe. Calm down, okay?
This is my hangar room now.
Bugs is like gonna look around, like panic, like oh god, what have I done? So,
Bubbles, what's your AC?
jeez, 30.
30?
With armor on. Do you have all your armor on?
We can say I don't have my armor. We can-
Okay, sure. What is your KC with that armor on?
Kill each other.
Oh Jesus! It's like we'll just say it's like minus 14. It's something high.
Cool, 14, no problem.
I
So
can-
all of a sudden there is a sharp pain, and you take 1 point of piercing damage as all of a sudden, Squeak just bites into your shin. Like just digging in and kind of like bending on. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but like clinging. Very much attached to you at this point.
Oh, Squeak.
He's gonna like. I imagine Bubs is close to the door. He like kind of like takes Squeak off and like opens the door like a little bit, and, like pushes his Squeak out.
Are you okay? You're taking damage.
No, it's fine.
And he like closes the door.
Make an athletics check if you want to break free of Squeak.
Try to keep the door open to see what's
I
going
will
on.
help
for a second.
Spike.
A bunch
shit,
of people
shit.
leaning out into the hallway,
Yeah.
like You all good?
That's a 10 plus 5, 15.
A 10 plus 5, 15. Okay, so with 15, you're easily able to just kind of like shake Squeak off, and he like and skits onto the steel, and he goes over and he like starts barking and runs back up, and you slam the door shut.
We're okay. We're busy in here. I'll talk to you guys
And
later.
just runs back to you.
And as this moment, as like Spice is like a little bit like preoccupied, just swinging the hammer madly, it's like,
Okay, beep, round 2, okay?
and he's gonna take off the cloth of the second item, and the item that he's gonna reveal is a bunch of ceramic planter pots that are like stacked to like look like Red's Casino. It has like a little bit of dirt modeled around it. It's very, very beautiful. Bubs spent a lot of time working on it. And it
Are
has,
these ceramic planter pots that you just purchased from this garden
Yeah,
set?
I bet we bought a
Roll a D100.
Oh god.
Oh, your plants are
One of them's a
dying.
bomb.
No, I bought a lot.
Echo goes to the garden.
Oh wait, no, it's 100.
Yeah, 2d10s.
Bubs. Bubs.
It's a 60.
Okay, you're fine. You're fine.
They all ran away.
Just recall that Nikolai was in one of those pots,
Ooh.
and he had slid all the way down, so it
Okay.
would be hard to see him.
Babe, I want you to imagine that you're gonna throw the swift hammer of justice at these mafia bastards. Come on, just give it a good throw right at this plant.
I'd rather imagine you, and then she hits it.
Yeah, go ahead and make another attack roll.
You might die.
Are you attacking me or the?
You.
Yeah, she
1000%.
literally just said,
All right,
I
I'm
would
right-
rather attack you.
I'm right next to it, so you're probably gonna hit that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that good. 15.
That's just enough to hit.
Just enough to hit
You
that.
slam into Bubbles again. Go ahead and roll one more d10. And it shatters this kind of...
8.
Okay, you take 8 points of bludgeoning damage. The Spice slams this into your chest, shattering through the pots, but also part of your sternum.
I have been told not to enter the armory before when they are in there.
They're
Should we
taking
intervene?
damage.
No, we're fine. That was good, babe. That was really good. You've been training. I wish I didn't help you train so much. Look, we can do this. We have two more rounds.
And he's going to
Me or you?
he's gonna limp over to like the third one, and he's gonna take off the cloth. And this one is actually a pinata that he's made out of paper, and it's on a string, and it's actually like the GPF logo. It has like the sun and the stars going around it, and Bubba's gonna hold the string, and he's gonna like kind of coward, being like,
Babe, come on. Can you just hit the pinata this time?
Are you mad? And she's gonna go for the pinata.
The
Make
pinata,
an attack roll.
meaning the bubs.
can I? Are you actually going for the pinata?
I'm gonna go for the pinata
Okay.
this time because there's a reason.
Can I make a DC check to pull the string away to like make it more difficult, or do anything to make it more difficult?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, roll a d20.
Okay. That is a
9.
That is a 9. Okay.
I got 22.
Yeah, even as Bubs like tries to yank the string and it jerks up a little bit, the hammer is a weapon of war. This is not something designed. This is not a wiffle ball bat designed to kind of like hit an actual pinata. This is an actual war implement. It shatters the pinata.
fucking
It partially
Better
catches
be
on
candy
fire.
in
There's
there.
meat puffs.
The little meat puffs.
There's
You
no
smell
candy?
sizzling meat
Doesn't have
puffs.
any
There's no
candy.
candy. And then it slams
Candy doesn't
through.
exist.
If you wish, it can hit Bubs. That's high enough where it can do that if you want.
Well, now that she realized it doesn't have any candy in it, yeah, she's
All
like,
there is
this
synthetic
is a fucking
sucrose
stupid
powder.
pinata. Do you
Babe,
understand
no.
what
Roll a D10.
pinatas
Babe,
go
I did
in?
the best I can, babe.
Love me
6.
nice.
You take 6 points of bludgeoning
Oh,
damage.
okay.
Do you even know why I'm so mad?
Spice slams through the pinata and spins the hammer back up around, slamming it into you on the back pull.
Are you guys going
Babe,
for like a
I-
most toxic relationship?
I know
anymore?
why you're mad. I'm gonna show you this last.
Tell me why I'm mad. Tell me why I'm mad.
And he's going to take off the last cloth. And this is something that Bubs has taken from the ship in the bathroom. And as he takes off the cloth, it reveals a mirror, and it reflects Spice's reflection.
What is this? Do
Babe.
you want me to hit myself?
You're not mad at me. You're mad at yourself.
And he's like cowering behind the mirror.
Spice, speechless. But the more she looks at herself, the more she was already in like a frenzied anger. You can see just like the rage behind her one good eye just boil over, and she's gonna go for the mirror, but aiming for you behind it.
It's like an overhead smash.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and just roll damage.
She's just gonna run
really
into
can't
the
miss.
mirror.
If somebody's holding and not able to see you from the other side of a mirror, it's impossible really to miss them.
Isn't it
Yeah,
like
it's
a
more.
hardness
No
one
problem.
shield?
Babe, no,
4
no.
more points of bludgeoning damage. There is a shatter, and as the mirror like explodes across you, bubbles, the glass gets into your skin. You feel elements that kind of like nick and wick away at this area. Parts of it deflect off the shield, but other parts not so much. It's beginning to kind of wear you down a little bit.
Okay, babe. That's it. That's everything in the room to destroy.
Oh, really? Because I see one more.
Oh, babe, no, come on. Isn't there some kind of other smashing we could do?
No.
You know, the fun smashing?
I'm going to hit you.
Echo kind of goes over to the room and just gently like knocks.
20.
I would give them their space.
Knocks.
Natural one. Yeah, 1 more point of bludgeoning damage.
So you slam the hammer in, and Bubbles, as you stagger back and you like put your hand on the door and just catch yourself, you hear just from the other side, ding ding.
We're fine. We're just working some things out. I think we're in a good place. A somewhat better.
The door.
Bubs just like falls right out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scamper through and tackle Spice.
Okay. And then Squeak right from the side of you just jumps and just right into Bubs again.
Squeak.
Not doing any damage. Just kind of shakes one more time and then gets off and just runs back over to Shade.
You
And with
are
that, I'll pull
disturbing
you out
my
of the
concentration.
I give him his treat.
And you're hurting him. Why would you hurt him? Haven't you hurt him enough? You denied your relationship? I heard it in front of your friends. How could you salvage that relationship by starting it with some lies when we all know that you guys care about each other?
No, she was incognito. It was totally different.
Don't speak for me. You always do that.
No, I don't. I'm not trying to do that.
You wouldn't even let me tell you why I'm mad at you.
Why are you mad at me?
Finally. Now you want to know.
Well, do we have to do this in front of everyone?
I mean, Shade said we have to do it. Everybody has to know everything now, right, Captain? We're at this family dinner all over again.
Why are you mad? I care. I do.
Spice.
But I don't know that I understand it.
Well, I'm not mad at you.
No, I know, but why are you mad at Bubbles? He's
I think
annoying, but he's nothing but nice to you. He's nicer than all of us has been. Even me. He's maybe even a little nicer than you deserve.
Spice taken back by that. But actually, maybe she wouldn't be. I think that would go right over her head. She's gonna go, you saw how weird he was acting on Akaton.
We were all acting weird on Akaton. It's called Aktaton.
What?
I was trying to make it fun.
While Gibbs has Spice distracted, Echo's gonna try and be like, the plants need assistance immediately.
Okay.
And
Critical plant assistance needed.
Bubs is going to, I guess, pick himself up,
Have gone missing.
try to piece together what's going on.
Yeah, I got a, plant emergency.
Of course you would leave, you coward.
Why are you mad?
I will talk to you later. And I will talk to you later. She looks over at Bubs.
And Bubs
This isn't over.
Bubs hightails it out of the room.
You do.
Girl, we need to chat.
Why?
Because I'm furious.
No, I know that, but I can't solve your problem, and it's obviously not with me, really. I mean, it might be. I guess I hurt Shade, too, but seriously, he's, well-intentioned.
Okay. I hear you. Spice comes down a little bit from her rage now that she's just with Gibbs and they're like by the grid.
Yeah, Gibbs is just gonna sort of play in the junk, like the trash that's now been created. Sort of like
Is it
fidget with it.
road?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Balance in everything.
So when we were on Akaton, right? Everybody knows that I have so much history there. And I am so upset with Bubbles that he would not acknowledge that. He was acting so weird and so evasive the whole time. And I really needed my partner in that moment, and he wasn't there.
He wasn't there, but can you blame him? I mean, the history you have there was a history of heartbreak. And he's here, inserting himself, and he doesn't necessarily always know what you need. He was probably trying to give you space, but in some ways, maybe he was hurting himself.
Well, if he didn't know what I needed, why didn't he ask?
Why
He
didn't you
even
tell
want
him?
to talk about, because he wouldn't even talk about it. He was avoiding me like the plague. And I am hurt that he wouldn't even care about my heartbreak. That's what it felt like.
Where is this conversation?
I'm in the armory.
Okay.
Like, I'm sitting among the
How much do
rubble.
I hear from the cockpit?
Oh,
Yeah.
this is all happening
right
very
there.
loudly.
Just yelling.
The
Very
door
much
is open.
an
There's
episode of Jerry
debris.
Springer.
Right now, Squeak is like sifting through the wreckage, trying to find something to like eat out of all of this like debris.
I make sure I feed him, like, the trashed meat pucks from the pinata.
Oof, just kind of goes over, starts eating them, no problem.
I'm just so upset that he didn't ask or check in. Like, I feel so alone right now.
It's more than just Bubbles. I don't think any of us asked. I'm sorry that you were hurting on Akaton. And I give you a hug. I'm sorry.
Spice just starts screaming, crying.
I know it was hard, and I
It
know
was so hard.
I'm so sorry, but despite that, you did so good. I'm sorry.
It's okay. How would you have known? I'm so good at bottling things up, but this time, I was so upset.
He is learning, though.
Is he, though? Is he?
You're not.
I don't know
gonna,
if I can trust him anymore.
You're not gonna train a dog by beating it. You're just gonna end up with teeth.
Is he a dog, though? He's a human.
Well,
He's a human fucking man.
But
He's
he's-
not a dog.
pretty naive, and he's pretty young. And in a lot of ways, I don't know.
I'm not going to accept the boys will be boys statement.
You don't have to, but you also have to be responsible for what you're putting into it. There's a way you can calmly and rationally tell someone you're hurt, that you've been hurt.
He's the one who gave me all the things to break, for the record.
Because he cared. He was reaching out. He tried. He did more effort than any of us have done so far.
Could I
He's trying.
try to intervene at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you want,
Yeah.
you're right there. Yeah.
Scene needs intervenes.
The scene needs intervenes.
Yeah, so I'd
Going in
probably
circles.
come and
I open the door.
open the door. Yeah.
Hey,
Spice's mascara is just like on her
we're
face.
snuggling.
Gibbs, could you give us the room for a moment?
Not now, Shade.
No, now.
Okay, Captain, she mocks.
I leave.
I need my girl to console me right now. As if you could.
I understand your frustrations. This is not the way to behave.
Spice throws her hands up. Bubbles was the one who gave me all the things to break.
Bubbles does more for you than you recognize. The only reason that I've made him my second in command is because I expect you to take over. And when you do, Bubs is going to be your second in command.
I didn't think about it that way.
He supports you more than you recognize. He supports all of us.
Did you just hear what I said to Gibbs?
It was hard not to.
Sure.
One of the things that you need to work on, if you want to become captain again. Focus that anger into something productive, not destroying things in the armory.
Spice is going to lean in to, like, very close into Shade's face, and she goes, "When I'm captain, I'm gonna do it my way," and flick your nose away.
Taking out a cigarette.
Imagine we can go to the Echo and Bob scene.
Spice also
Echo.
does, but she lights her own cigarette and doesn't use.
Echo gestures to like one of the like cryo shelves or something. I'm assuming there's some like empty space that's just like holding wires, and was like, "Please have a seat.
Oh, yeah, okay, but you know the garden.
Have a seat.
Oh, okay.
I hope you realize that that was a lie. The garden is fine."
I was super worried.
And he like coughs out like a little blood in his hand when he's super worried.
about the garden.
It has come to my attention that you are trying to make Spice feel better about something for some reason.
Well, you know, you always want to make your, girl feel better if she's upset about things. You know how it is.
You have also tried to make me feel better about things.
Well, I always want people to feel better. You guys are my friends. I want everyone to feel good.
May I offer some advice?
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps you should listen and ask first before taking action.
What do you mean?
Perhaps Spice is not in need of destruction. Perhaps Spice is in need of something else. You attempted to make me feel better by telling me that I am human-like, when that is categorically false. I am an android, and nothing I look like will change that, and that is fine. I was not upset about being an android. I was upset about something else, but you did not ask. You assumed.
Well, what are you upset about?
You know what they say about assumption.
We can talk about that later. For the moment, we are talking about why you are currently bleeding on the floor.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
And he's gonna like take a sandy wipe and he's gonna wipe up the floor as he's bleeding.
That is not what I meant.
Yeah. No, I think you had a good point. Maybe I do need to stop trying to fix things and maybe listen a bit better, but
You are not responsible for solving everyone's problems.
everyone counts on me, and I just feel like if I...
We do not. Respectfully.
Yeah.
And by that I mean,
True facts.
Not there.
we do not count on you to solve all of our problems. That is unreasonable.
Oh, okay.
If you would like to help, the best way is to ask.
I mean,
Sometimes we do not always know what to ask for, but it is important to know that someone is available.
I guess that makes sense.
I think it is important that you give Spice some space to cool down, as she seems quite volatile now.
I honestly thought this would help her. I didn't know it'd make things worse, but I think next time I'll try it your way.
Everyone has different feelings about different things. You might believe that me not looking human is uncanny and a bit disturbing, but I do not see it that way. And in fact, by stating so, you did actually hurt me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like in a way, or I didn't. Oh, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry.
And that does not mean we are no longer colleagues. That does not change the fact that we still must work together and cooperate. The team will not be well structured if we all nip at each other's heels.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot about the nipping, and I just...
Echo looks pointedly at, like, the squeak bites.
It's just that I don't really have a family. This is it. This ship, these moments that we're on the ship right now, these are the moments that I love. And sometimes I wish we could just fly forever. But maybe you're right. Maybe I need to just let people just be. Even if I want to try to fix things.
Do you think that it will be peaceful and quiet now for the next few hours?
Oh, well, maybe if we, had some quality gardening time, we could maybe find some peace.
There's like a very slight dimming to Echo's eyes as they realize what they've done.
Okay, and I want to show you, like, this really cool thing that I found online about, like, how to, like, plant, like, soil in, like, a certain way. So, like, when the plant grows, it, like, attaches it to, like, this, like, stick that you put on it.
Fade.
And Bob just keeps talking and talking.
Although, Echo, as Bubbles is talking, you can't help but realize that there is a sensor that is going off. This is something from the director. It was going off when you guys were talking too, but you were a little busy and didn't quite hear it. You hear that there is something that is being sensed by the ship.
Director, please explain.
The beeping stops, and the director says, Echo, scans indicate that there are no craft or notable debris proximal to the ship. There is an anomaly at the edge of our sensor's readings. We will reach it in approximately 30 minutes. Drift density in this zone is approximately 25%. That is it.
Echo immediately pings Shade. There is a problem. Meet at the cockpit.
Uh,
Echo zooms.
I go to the cockpit. I mean, I think I was probably just standing in the armory smoking the cigarette.
You just like swivel on one foot.
Yeah, just fucking, now I gotta go back in here.
I'll follow it.
Throw out the
Shades.
cigarette.
Eels.
Go see what's going on. Right next to Squeak, who is also probably following at my heels.
As Echo like waits impatiently for the door to raise because they're faster than the door.
Yeah.
Echo
Probably get there right around the same time.
Yeah. Echo reaches inside the cockpit and like pulls themselves through.
Beep,
Director,
beep,
please
boop.
display
What's
the
going on?
information in a readout.
So in front of you, in front of where you can see just the hazy clouds of the drift that are kind of lazily going by as you navigate through the channels of this dark space, a reading comes out. And you can see laid out like a rough map in 3D of the space that you are navigating. Relatively large channels that you were able to move through.
you
But
know it's
at the
the
very
future.
edge, you can see there is this element of narrowing that is beginning to happen. What are you doing over there, Dan?
Sorry.
Getting back into costume.
I'm sorry. So it's like going into like a drift tunnel, essentially.
It sort of looks like that, yeah. Although right now, just at the edge of your vision, you can't really get a good view or glance as to what it is. Although what I will say
What would
is,
have been useful was those
Sensor.
ranged-
Oh man.
it's almost like every single thing
I
that
said we should get
ever
the
present
sensor.
to you has a purpose for some reason.
I was like, man, we should get the sensor.
Yeah, but we wanted to be able to thaw our meat.
We want to be able to freeze our
We
meat.
don't even have to keep this bounty alive.
I have actually never
bounty-
had a group as meat focused as all of you, and that is honest.
Eats meats.
Yeah.
Sponsor
It's
us.
actually pescatarian.
Anyways,
What's drift density? What's that mean? What's drift director? What's drift
What
density?
are the
Gibbs.
implications of this?
drift density indicates the relative dispersion of the drift clouds versus empty space.
So more density is better or less density is better?
More density means it is more difficult to travel.
Is that, do your sensors read that little spot there is more densely drifty?
We will know more soon.
Oh.
Yeah, is there anything as a pilot that I would need to do in this sort of situation to like assess this situation?
Make a piloting check, yeah, sure.
Like-
but as you kind of get into the cockpit and you
Like
begin
what
to
are
manipulate
the
these
implications
controls.
of
Can
this?
Echo
Is this
provide
like we're going to
assistance?
come upon
Yeah, absolutely.
one
Take
of
a
these
+6 conditional
anomalies again?
modifier. Echo grabs the seat next to you, and between the two of you, you begin to manipulate the
Alright.
ship's controls and sensors. You
I
tighten
can't
them up a
fail.
little bit.
All right. But it's good.
Okay. Like you
But-
missed though.
I just have to see what my piloting skill is now because we leveled up. +6.
Okay.
Oh my
7.
god.
Say the numbers out loud, otherwise we can't help
41.
you. Oh my god.
So Shade, you look at the sensors and you see this begins to tighten, and you begin to think about different things that this could be. You take the elements of the sensors that you have, and you really haven't used them a lot, so you begin to look at some of the options that you have available, and you recognize you could take your sensors and really focus them forwards, not really looking
do so.
around. Yeah, very much kind of focusing it and getting a further view. And as you do, and you kind of zoom in, the director chimes in, warning, drift density increasing ahead. And you can see as these scans go out further ahead, coming up in about 40 minutes, as you pass by, there will be an area where the clouds get closer and closer together until they form an area where they gently slope up and become almost like a vertically oriented column, like you'll be traveling through a column of this drift cloud. It will be relatively close to your ship.
Does the readout display like the surrounding like average density of the stuff that's like immediately in our vicinity?
Yeah, and it's not like 1-to-1, but you can see like the relative gradient gets a little bit more full or less full depending on how dense it probably is. But it's an average. If you guys had, say, a slightly stronger scanner system, it would be a little bit
interesting.
more detailed.
Even our short range sensors aren't able to pick up like immediately in the vicinity what we've got going.
No, for sure. You can get like
a couple
immediately in the
pebbles.
vicinity. But right now, immediately in the vicinity, there's still enough
granules.
space that you are not touching anything or close to anything.
Yeah, I
As
was
you
just
get
wondering what
closer,
like an
for sure.
average drift density would look like.
Oh, average drift density at 25
50% of this.
really means that there is nothing even close to you. You can see the drift clouds near you. When you think about Lolas with those like sprawling arms of the drift that make it really difficult to navigate, and Shade always has to be at
So
the
it's like
cockpit.
10% or something more
That's
normal.
50%. And
Okay.
so normal, 25 is normal. 25 is
25 is
very
normal.
Is 100% when you're like
100% would
Gone.
be, there's nothing, you
It's
have
like
been lost to the
entering into the edge.
Nobody,
Yeah. The void.
there are
into the abyss.
supposedly ships with certain engines that are not drift engines that can get through density 70. But really past
Beyond that is
past
like-
70 is
It's like the deep of the ocean.
that
No one
is
fucking
sci-fi
knows.
in 20
Yeah.
in 2250. Is like what happens beyond. In fact, Beyond 70 currently a hit sci-fi movie.
Ooh.
So our autopilot can't navigate the sensory, the drifty part.
You would know beyond probably about 50 would be impossible for an autopilot. That's where you have to always be. So like Lola's, you always have to.
So
be
you
there.
just have to drive.
Is there a way to avoid this without ruining our trajectory or our like
Take the long road.
beacon point, our coordinates,
With that check, you would have to circle back around, and you could sort of start
and
again.
basically restart?
It
yeah.
wouldn't restart. It would essentially double the length of your journey. Now, going through here, with a 41, you've heard of places like this. This is something called a drift column. And this is a place where, and there's many theories as to why these exist. There are people who say this is where, in real space, the analogous location is maybe nearing a black hole. There are people who say there is a highly advanced civilization that is shaping the drift around these spaces. There are people who say there are religious implications to this. But for whatever reason, these do occur from time to time. And one of the things that is a little bit dangerous about them is that there are times where things will pass through these clouds. And they could be things like asteroids, which can destroy ships. And so these are dangerous places to travel through.
So this is just a kink in the drift.
That's a way of thinking about it, yeah.
Do you require extra assistance?
I can help as well.
This. Yes.
What do you need of us?
Everyone should get to stations.
Here. I can use.
Echo, go to the engines. Be ready if we take any damage.
Instantly
Gibbs.
in the engines.
Check on Bubs in the med bay before getting started. I'll need you up by the cockpit.
Yes, sir. And I'll
Bubs,
scamper off
Once
to
you're
Bubs.
feeling better, get to the guns.
Do you say that like on the comms or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bobs, are you hurt? Are you bleeding?
Oh.
You're bleeding. Here. Now you're not bleeding.
I was gonna say I'm okay.
You're extra okay, and now a little bit more wet.
Yeah. And Bubs goes to reach for his sandy wipes, and he goes to clean up the spit on his face. And as he tries to do a counterclockwise motion, his hand does a clockwise motion. And he doesn't know why, and he doesn't think anything of it, and he just refocuses himself and he's okay, I gotta get the gunner ship. I gotta go, Gibbs.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. And I yell that as I'm running down the hall.
No problem.
Spice, get to the cockpit.
Spice doesn't listen.
I go to the cockpit.
I say it.
Spice continues to smoke in the armory. But no problem. So you go to the cockpit. Everybody but Spice to battle stations. Spice, are you just going to be smoking in the armory?
Yeah, she's just patting.
Okay, no problem.
And we all die.
In wrecked ceramic and broken bits of resin, you just smoke this cigarette and you go.
Confetti.
I pull out the Gibbs keyboard
Okay.
and jack it in.
It's a Basio.
You know what? At this point, because it is distracting Gibbs from like touching the rest of the controls.
Oh, yeah, it's like
take a
plugging-
+1 conditional modifier
Nice.
for not having Gibbs just jam
It's
on
like
this.
giving the
And Gibbs,
unplugged controller to your cousin.
No, but I jacked it in.
unbeknownst,
Stop saying that word.
So one of the best parts about this is, unbeknownst to Shade, slowly, though this is just like it's not
It's
really
being
connected.
integrated.
No. It is a steering console, and so you have been acquiring flying skills over the course of
I
this.
have been.
Oh no, absolutely. And so like you're watching Shade, and at first it was Shade was like turning the wheel, and you'd be like, oh yeah. But
Now it's
now
more in
you're like,
sync.
there are times where you're like, oh, and you're like doing things at the exact same time as Shade is, and like you truly are gaining piloting skills. Shade has no idea, and on some level, Gibbs really doesn't have an idea, but like these are absolutely applicable skills that Gibbs is
Cool.
picking up.
And I will use, because it doesn't cost anything, I can use precognition as a mysticism check.
Okay.
But I don't know that it totally applies to this, but I'd like it to, because ultimately it gives Shade a +2 to his piloting checks, but it says mysticism check to use supernatural senses or divination to see an enemy ship movement. But can I sort of apply that to the drift being...
I see what you're saying.
Extra thick drift.
Or, I mean, the other thing is...
Hold on to that.
I will send out my good vibes to the universe.
So right now, what I'm
Plus 2
kind of
for
like
good
saying
vibes.
is
Yeah.
the way that you're. So this is how this is going to work.
Cool.
As you guys are pulling up and you guys pass, you guys hesitantly and very tensely begin to wait at your battle stations, with the exception being Spice, who is just smoking.
Wait, this isn't gonna work because we don't have the cryo chamber. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, that's bullshit now.
I don't know what it
Oh, I
does.
need mine.
Here, I
I
have
have
some money.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
begin to approach, getting closer and closer, and you can see on the scanners, this is a long drift column. This extends and extends and extends past the ship's sensors and past your visual range. And as you round a corner and you begin to see the drift slope up and the clouds begin to kind of just move your ship up a little bit further, you look out through the cockpit and you can see just swirling purple clouds. And there is probably like 50 feet of space on either side of the ship that give you room, but in terms of like celestial space, that's not a lot. This is a narrow tunnel,
Yeah.
such that it's just a field of purple in front of you. This dark, shifting, nebulous purple cloud. And it swirls like you are looking straight down the center of a storm.
Sounds
Kind of pretty if it wasn't so
Good.
ominous.
There is an element of that is pretty. And Gibbs, make a perception check.
Ooh, I love
Can I
perception.
also make a perception check
Yeah,
since
go
I'm looking out the window?
Yeah. Anybody in the cockpit or anybody near a window can make a perception.
Ooh, I have
There's no,
windows.
Yeah.
there's no
18.
cockpit. There's no windows in the engineering
22.
bay, is there?
There's none in the engineering bay, none in the armory.
18.
18.
13 plus 8?
Nice. 21.
21. Sorry. Oh,
Okay.
plus 9. 22. I was thinking I had
Also 22.
22. So with an 18, this is really pretty. And that, like the fact that as you're going, every now and then there is this kind of almost lightning that kind of moves through. And so you can see like the clouds become lighter and darker in places. It's very pretty. and as it swirls around, that definitely takes a lot of your attention. Bubs and Shade, the two of you could almost swear there are times as you begin to get close to the entrance of this that there is maybe some kind of movement beyond the swirl of these clouds, like something maybe is passing just on the outside or the other side.
Like another ship or a creature, a space creature.
With a 22, you're not even sure if you're seeing anything at all, but it might be.
Bubs is gonna wipe his eyes.
Okay. You wipe your eyes, and as you look out through the very smudged, the guns outside, kind of influenced by the paint from Gibbs that Gibbs threw on there. So there's a little bit of brown paint along the bottom.
You
It
have
makes it a
more of
little
your
hard to see
squeak
out.
panes.
It doesn't functionally impair you, but it bothers you.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's there.
It's like having this smudge on the
And that really
windshield.
is what your focus goes to. You don't see anything else beyond. But you travel. And Shade, is there anything that you're doing before you begin to push through this space?
Preparing for whatever is gonna happen. I don't really. I mean, there's no way around it besides going back.
As far as you could tell.
As full steam ahead, then.
Okay. So the way that this will work is this is going to be a group skills challenge. So each of you can name something that you're doing to aid in this endeavor.
Cool.
This is beyond plugging in the Yosoki keyboard and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
Shade, starting with you, you are the pilot. For you, the thing that probably makes the most sense.
I'm gonna work on piloting.
Yeah.
I can use my quick patch if we start to take damage
Sure.
with my
We'll
exocortex.
keep that in mind. Go ahead and make a piloting check. As you push forward.
The +1 keyboard.
Yeah.
Casio.
+1 emotional Yosoki bonus.
Nice. That's gonna be a 30. God, math. Math gets so high up now. 33.
It really does.
Starfinder is just like a whole different like math
Yeah.
system too. So no problem.
really
With a
real.
33, you lean forward on the controls and you feel the ship respond and it begins to slowly drift through the space. You keep it center. You plot a course that really keeps you dead center of the tunnel.
It was a 34 with the +1, but it doesn't matter. Same.
It does. It
Oh.
definitely matters.
Every little bit counts.
For a group skills challenge, there is a DC that is
Oh.
cumulative, and so
Okay.
it
So,
really,
yeah.
really matters.
+1.
Yeah. And like the way that I set that score is like there's math involved.
Okay.
Bubs, what are you doing to help?
Is it? For my first question is it hard to see through the darkness, or is it not like darkness? It's like more like a.
The drift.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cloud. And so the way that the drift works is when you think about it, you're in space, but you don't really see stars. You don't see anything like
Yeah.
that because all
Okay.
around there is just this interstellar cloud.
So my thinking
Also
is,
probably have targeting systems and stuff.
yeah. I was thinking of maybe like just shooting the laser to give light, but I'm thinking now, like, you know, ever like when you fly in a really foggy or drive in a foggy area and you turn your high beams on, it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
So that's probably not what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have my targeting systems on and look for something that I see that may be ominous or scary that I have to shoot with, and just be in communication with Shade. He's like, Shade, if I see something, I'll get it right away. You name the target and I'll get it. And
Hold your fire until I say.
you got it,
Make a perception check, Bubs.
Captain. Ooh, that's a 19 plus 9, 28.
Okay, good
These
start.
are
Good
high.
start.
Yes.
So you begin to look, and what you really do is you use the gun's targeting system as a ultra short range but very focused sensing system.
Yeah.
And you hook that up, and the director, kind of seeming to see what you're doing, integrates that into the sensor suite and kind of makes the sensing of the ship just grow a little bit wider in its range. But excellent work. Echo, what are you doing?
Echo's in the engineering bay, so they're going to work on diverting some of the ship's like systems towards sensors, engines, and like thrusters,
Okay.
and basically try and forward shields.
So what are you pulling away from?
Echo would probably pull away from internal lighting systems, because we don't really need that. Echo would probably completely shut down the cryo chamber.
Got a couple hours before the frosts.
My meat pucks! No!
Like, oh, there's still negative
Do I
400 degrees.
still have to pull power from
Kelvin.
something?
Oh yeah.
How many systems should I shut down?
The Christmas tree.
One more if you want to shut down if you want to boost the ones that you've mentioned.
One more?
Yeah, but the more that you shut down, I mean, the greater impact this is going to have.
The garden.
The garden's not on the ship systems.
Yeah, it's a mobile drone.
Yeah, it's not plugged in.
Echo's probably gonna power down the med bay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's, I mean,
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it back up if we need it. We need the shields.
yeah.
Gibbs, for you especially, you notice the lights go down, and for any of you who need light to see, it is dim light within your ship. The lights dim, they flicker, some of the controls begin to kind of like, not spark, but they'll alternate lights so that you can see all the controls at different times.
Climate control, it's gonna get chilly.
Okay?
Not dangerously chilly, just
need
chilly
not
enough.
life support, climate control.
I'm not.
Spice needs to cool off.
Spice, now it's hard because you want to be mad, but also like you start to shiver a little bit. It's
Yeah, she's like
hard to be
feeling
mad.
around the
Yeah.
wall for the blankets, but she's like, fuck, it's all covered in dust.
And also Bubbles took all the beds and stuff
Yeah.
out, so there's like nothing really in there. But no problem. You cut those. Make an engineering check.
Cuddle for one.
Take a +2 conditional modifier.
Echo's also going to power down the bathrooms, just to like, we don't need
Conserve the water.
we conserve the water because we need it for the cooling systems, but also we don't need the odor control right now.
Oh, we always need the odor control.
I think Dan is
Did
the
you
only
forget
person that
that
understands the implications of what you are doing.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really appreciate.
21 plus 2, 23.
23.
Thank God Bubs can't smell though.
Yeah, no.
This
Oh
is
my
gonna be
god.
fun.
Also, I'm sorry everyone, that was
Aww.
Oh, the new die.
a new die fail.
Spice. Aside from pouting, is there anything that you're doing?
She's going to either attempt a bluff or sleight of hand check because she still wants everyone to think that she's pouting,
Okay.
but she does want to help her team survive.
Okay.
So she's going to. I don't know how I'm gonna flavor this.
Make a bluff check.
Okay, well, don't mind if I do. Oh, Jesus, man. Okay, so 19 plus 15. Oh, wait, so 20 plus 15 is 35 plus 6, 41.
Nice.
So for the rest of you, Spice spends this time as you guys are going about just pouting and kind of like moping about the ship, smoking, and like every now and then, Shade, you're like piloting, and Spice comes over and leans over and doesn't talk at all and kind of leans over you and then just blows smoke in your face. But the way that you do it, you like look over and you're seeing an element of space. You're a very experienced pilot. And so for you, you're seeing not just the elements that are around, but also places in which like Shade does not really need to be paying attention. And so when you blow smoke and you force him to divert his eye, you're really making him like focus in a correct space.
And Spice is in the cockpit now?
Yeah.
Kind of
Alright,
like
great, good. We're doing teamwork, guys.
wandering around the ship. For Bubbles, really helped Bubbles mostly by like staying away and not being a distraction.
Not punching him in the face.
But for all of you, you just read this as as Spice, sort of like pouting and kind of getting in the way.
But she's
Just
doing
a-
a good job. She's Shade is
Yes.
just like, oh good. Everyone's at their stations.
Gibbs feels the lights go down, feels her fur prickle from kind of the cold air starting to blow, lets out a nervous fart as she sort of starts to feel like this is much more ominous of a situation than kind of originally intended. So she
Thanks, Talon.
starts to send out into
This is the woe, by the way.
I didn't notice.
starts to send out into the universe being a little suspicious and wants to sense motive the clouds or like anything that could
Yeah, make a sense motive.
Do
check.
danger.
Love that.
yeah. Oh, not my. I didn't pick mysticism. I thought I wanted something better, but it's a little bit lower than it. Anyways, 15 plus 6 is 21.
Okay.
So.
Gibbs, for you in particular, as this happens and you begin to like look out and try to sense the motive of these clouds, sensing the motive of a partially like a part of or a product of like physics and matter kind of colliding in a strange way is difficult at the best of times. And right now you're a little bit distracted, and so hard to tell the motive of the universe at this particular moment.
Why are we getting fucked over? Oh wait, it's Talon.
Yeah, so kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
You don't get the sense that there's anything necessarily lurking immediately beyond, but it's also hard to tell.
Yeah, that's okay.
So you begin to make your trip, and Shade, with your piloting check, you keep the ship true and straight along the course, with occasional help from Spice with a 41, the high roll of the entire group,
Envoys are all skills, baby.
boosting all of your skills. Bubs, with your sort of boost to the sensors and using the targeting system to really track any kind of thing that comes close, you continue to aid Shade. And Gibbs, for you, you're really the person, you and Echo, who struggle to really find something that can connect. You shut these systems down, but you don't really feel a boost to the others, not in a real meaningful way. And Gibbs, for you, you begin to sense that there might be something beyond this cloud. And then you fart and you're like, oh, now I'm not really sure.
Is it my anxiety or just my indigestion?
And it's really hard to tell.
There's something.
But Shade, 10 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, a whole half an hour goes by, and finally, the director chimes in and says, the end of the drift column is approaching in 30 minutes. Drift density returning to normal. Another 10 minutes goes by.
Continue along.
I'm dying to know what we missed.
Another 20 minutes goes by. And with no issue, you make it through this drift column. You
You're
see
welcome
no
for that
dark
41.
shapes moving through the clouds. That, ultimately, the 33 to 34 did not make a big difference, but it could have.
Every little bit counts.
So you make your way through, emerging on the other side, and as you see the very, very edge swirling and swirling, you emerge, and the drift density dropping back to 25, it opens up, and you're in a much clearer light.
When Echo gets the all clear, they normalize the systems again.
Okay. Lights come back on.
Nice job. You did it.
We did it.
Wow. I just farted and looked out the window.
And there is no deception in Gibbs's voice.
Literally all
Why
I
does it stink in here?
Because I farted.
Please return to standard power.
Already
Already
happening.
Put some extra power into odor control for like the next 20 minutes.
The whole light,
Just draw,
all the
like-
lights go down.
Just draw like
So an important
5%
function.
Aura's Bay, like a sea breeze starts like filtering through very, very slowly.
Aw.
Just one of the car air fresheners you stole from a rental car you put in like the filter. Yep.
ones that go off.
So very. What were you about to say, Joe?
So one of the things about shutting down parts of the climate control and the bathroom, to keep toilets like pressurized in space is a really challenging thing.
Buzz is gonna have
And
a
disabling
cleanup time.
both of those seems to have created a problem. For whoever it is that goes to the bathroom for the first time, opening it up, you will find two things to be the case. The
Yet our
first,
cleaning job to do.
Wait, does that mean? Sorry. Does that
the
mean the anti-grav in the ship was shut off?
no, the anti-grav in the ship is
climate
working
control.
great.
Wait, but I want to know what's
Yeah,
wrong with the
go ahead,
toilets.
Joe.
It seems as if the anti-grav or the elements that were keeping these pipes pressurized appropriately no longer really functioning. And so slowly the toilet lets out this little, and then there is and you see like a bubble drift out that will be this murky brown gray water. and then as it hits the top and breaches the top of the toilet and kind of normalizes into gravity, it splashes across the toilet. And so for whoever opens the door, a little water will run out. There'll be elements of waste that are kind of accumulating with them. And you would imagine that your toilets are no longer functional.
Forever?
You don't know.
No.
Oh shit.
We have a
Literally.
repair bot.
Bubs is
Got this.
he would normally like vocalize his disgust, but he just doesn't have it in him. And he just grabs a bucket and he just starts cleaning.
There you go.
It's not a satisfying clean either.
I guess I'm gonna start. Guess the crafting is off the table, and now I'm gonna be
yeah,
repairing the toilets.
You'll be fine. You can craft.
I mean, you definitely want to prioritize the
Yeah,
toilets.
gonna
yeah.
fix the toilets. That's
So if you're
going
going to take the crafting away for day one, cool, no problem. Toilets, an obstacle that you can overcome. It is an in-depth process. And so to
Yeah.
actually repressurize them without like venting all of your wastewater into space, very difficult to do.
Wait, why is that a
I'm
problem?
gonna have to go get under the flooring and stuff to get to the pipe system, keeping it all pressurized.
As
and
soon
then
as
being
you
able
lose
to release the
pressurization
pressure.
in a loop like that, you need to purge like all the air out typically. And so
Right.
if you don't do that correctly, you can purge everything in the system, out, which
Oh.
is all of your water.
Right.
And so then your toilet's very much broken until you reach a place where you can restock them, or you could trade parts of your life support in.
and
for
also
functioning
without
toilets.
water, yeah.
And also, if you're flying behind or a ship, they just get a right in the windshield.
The most important bit.
The invisible ship has been following you the whole time.
Sense mode, and that's the ship.
Mosaic, I dare you to follow us.
What's that?
Oh, you fixed it.
Get the windshield going.
I'm gonna break it again.
So no problem. You get through, and the drift opens up, and you begin to make good time again. You travel through, and the first day is spent fixing toilets and otherwise collecting yourselves after this experience.
Apologies.
Day 2 begins.
God, we're only in day 2, guys.
I love this.
Day 2 sees. Give me 1 second.
Can I have
here.
cast a spell?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
'cause my
you,
spells
and
are
you had,
phased
you had
stuff.
stated that. Yes.
So I have to do this in the middle of the night.
Yep.
So I will set sort of various alarms throughout the night to wake Gibbs up. So Echo will probably hear this.
And spikes.
Echo, make a will saving
Now for the
throw,
first
please.
time.
Well, if it works the first time, then I don't need the rest of the alarms.
Okay,
But
so make that and save it.
yeah. But I cast.
Do you not sleep in your armory?
No,
She's in my
dude,
bunk.
I'm mad at you.
She's in my old bunk.
Yeah.
Or my jump
We're
bunk.
in the, yeah.
It's the
So
three girls.
sad.
I am sad.
I know, but it was like
Oh,
really
what is
sad.
it? But anyways, so Gibbs sort of like wakes up and like pulls herself to the edge of her bunk and just sort of like skitters along the floor, and will like kind of like just crawl to the med bay, just to like have a door to close.
The helmet really, I can't look right now because Dan, you didn't see it, but Dan slowly, sadly put the helmet down and it killed me. And I really, yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. It's great. And so Gibbs will kind of collect the dust from her eyes, like this little sleepy sands, and have like sort of start to gather sort of like an abnormally large pile. And she will cast Nightmare.
Okay.
As she kind of casts it into the air around her, speaking Chesterfield's name into it. And this spell, if he is asleep and I know his name, I can identify a target. I basically can, he can make a reflex saving throw.
Okay. Gotta bring up my Chesterfield stats. Give me 1 second
Yeah,
here.
sorry.
Wasn't expecting that, but all right.
Because as long as he's on the same plane of existence as me, I can
Natural 1.
Great.
Oh.
And he's asleep.
He is definitely asleep.
Then he has a nightmare, rouses, and becomes frightened for 2d6 rounds. He cannot go back to sleep for at least 1 hour, and if he needs to go back to sleep, the target must succeed at the saving throw again, and he can keep trying every hour until he either passes his save or 24 hours have passed. But he's in a state of restlessness, and my DC is now 19.
So you give him bad dreams?
So I can basically curse him with a nightmare.
Nice.
That is a scary spell.
Is there a specific nightmare that you're giving him?
So
Dream Eater.
yeah, Gibbs sort of starts to think, kind of as she's anxious about finding her cousin, and sort of all of the anxieties that are really just tied and wrapped up and like all like stem from this pool of Chesterfield, and the hate started to sort of bubble, and as pacifistic as she thought she started this journey on, like that wall is definitely falling away. And so sort of in the deep dark of night, Gibbs kind of musters this anger and just sends this shower of dust into the world. And then as she does, thinks about the actual dust who she is most missing.
So you send this dust out into the world. You concentrate on Chesterfield, the name, the face, everything that you can think about him. And somewhere far away, it's like you, as you focus, and you slip your consciousness outside of the ship and into the darkness and beyond the elements of the swirling clouds that line the lanes of the drift here, you feel your mind connect with another one. This individual certainly asleep, certainly very much defenseless in this state. And you tap that mind, and instantly that connection severed. But you feel that spell take place.
And just so you're aware, if the target is not asleep, I do not expend the spell slot.
You expend the spell slot.
Yeah, so I will always know if he is sleeping or
Yep.
not.
That's great.
I know you're
Yeah.
asleep right now.
You should just call
So basically, if
Anytime
I
he tries to sleep, call him.
what's nice about this spell is because it can be 24 hours of restlessness. I can cast every 24 hours. If I can tell that he's asleep, I can just be like, "Wake up, bitch!
Yeah, just
Fuck
like-
off!" So yeah, so I that's the first night spell.
Okay, no problem.
Nice.
The next day comes around.
Bubs is probably gonna start the day.
Do you need Echo's Will saving through?
It was only one alarm because I wouldn't have needed to set multiple.
No, just the one.
Yeah.
Bubs is gonna start the day. I imagine he cleaned the bathroom and then he like stayed up at night, just cleaning the mess in the armory. And then he finally puts everything back, like the bed and the furniture and all that. And he just looks at the empty spot where Spice would have been, and he just doesn't feel satisfied with how everything's going right now. And he just thinks back to how he always thought being on the ship was his safe spot, where like he always felt at home, and he just doesn't feel that anymore.
You do that. You spend a little bit of time in the armory, a much more, after you clean it, you're so used to cleaning being like the comforting sort of repetitive motion. But with all of the furniture such that it was like moved out and all of the kind of stuff dispersed out, you can't even really sink into the normal cleaning rhythm. And whether you recognize it or not, there are elements to it that are definitely shifting. But you spend a little bit of time doing that. As day 2 dawns, Shade, are you beginning the day by announcing anything?
Not right at the start of the day. I'm gonna, I imagine probably having fixed the toilets and stuff, gone back to the cockpit, stayed in there until I got my rest, making sure that there were no more anomalies. And then I'm gonna take care of Squeak's business in the morning, make sure everything's still good for a little bit, give everyone their time. And then
You find that the medbay door has the do not
At
the
around-
D&D post-it note on it.
yeah, so at around noon, when it's lunchtime, everyone starts to gather for food.
Okay.
I imagine I'll start to.
You're going to ease them into this.
I'm gonna ease them into this.
Gibbs is gonna, because she's meditating, and so Gibbs does not need food, because she has food on her all the time, forever.
Yeah.
But Gibbs sort of.
Yeah.
Are we
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh,
We
I'm
were
sorry.
talking about just for a break. Yeah, we're getting
yeah.
close to that time.
Gibbs sort of starts her day in the med bay, having kind of fallen asleep there after casting her spell for the first time. and kind of blearily starts to kind of sort through and process her thoughts in a way where, for the first time, she's organically kind of cleaning herself and starting to think about the things that have served her in the past and whether or not they're currently serving her now. And she pulls out, as she's kind of arranging her pockets and like kind of she's unlashed and relashed the bottle a few times and sort of adjusting some of the parts of her outfit that make up like her armor and everything, pulls out the candle to the grandmother and starts to think about, you know, religion in her life has not in the past been like deity based, but really this scavenger's law, and how far she's gone from that and how feral she's become over the last few months, and that she's no longer at a place where she has to fight as hard to survive. Like, the food is coming and the breathing is happening and the heartache is more pressing than the active hurt of like wounds and things. And, you know, kind of looking at some of the scars on her body over the last few months and the ones that are still healing, and thinking about how a lot of those scars are not like her own. They're because she's taken on other people's burdens. And sort of as she's going through this, in her mind's eye, she starts to kind of see the lifelines around her. And she pulls out the only life link that links back into itself, being her own. And, you know, sees it not and how it's vagrated from like how it started in her life, and definitely the distinction between Gibbs before the bottle and Gibbs after the bottle. And really realizes that the debt that the director was talking about is not a financial one, but the fact that she owes her bottle, like her life, to this bottle and this entity that she can't control. And so Gibbs takes off the bottle and tries to take her hands off of it and really separate herself from the thing that has meant so much to her, and see if she can do that.
Roll a d100.
Oh shit!
Bitch, are you
is the
about to
bottle
die?
cursed?
Yeah.
Curse bottle.
All her organs fall right.
Oh shit!
70
healer.
flat.
Oh no, my battery.
As it is 8 o'clock.
Oh,
This is when
God.
I
course
step
I
away
was
for a
just
quick
gonna have-
break. Thank you for reminding me, Olive.
I just
So-
gotta pee.
That was good timing though.
We are going to go ahead and step away for a quick break. It is 7:59. We'll be back right around 8:10. We'll see you then.
Dang, I was holding my breath for that one. Holy
We'll
shit!
see you then. And howdy, folks. Welcome back. Most of us are back. Some of us will be joining us in just a moment. We are going to jump right back into some Starfinder action.
All right.
No one cares.
Time
It's
is
all
not
good.
for me anymore.
Matt is the timekeeper, and he wants everybody to know that he is always on time.
Forever. Never late.
So, when we left off, Gibbs, you had been holding the candle of La Choupeau, the grandmother rat. You took your bottle off for the very first time in a very long time, holding your hands on either side and then beginning to pull them away. You rolled a D100 and you rolled a 71.
70 flat.
70 flat. Okay.
70.
But I'll take a +1 for holding the candle.
Is it a minus?
No, I was fucking clue. I'm just.
Oh, shit! Not a good start. Not a good start.
Gibbs, you put your hands on either side of the bottle and you go to take them away. And as you do, you look over at this candle. And before you had seen, this was just the grandmother rat, these long Yosoki claws that had kind of curled down and over. This robed hood not really allowing you to see much beyond. But as you glance over at it again, you see eyes. Still just like printed on the paper, very much like, cheap prayer candle. But you could swear they weren't there before. As your hands still linger on the bottle, there is an element of it that feels protective to you. And you look over, you see those eyes, you hadn't seen them before. You aren't sure. You could certainly take your paws off of this. You have, whether you knew it or not, lost contact at times with it in your physical body. You're running and it kind of pops away. But in this moment, it feels like this might be... To take your hands away right now might be a little different. Do you still want to?
No. I clutch it back, breathing heavy.
The glass along the candle cracks. And that's what happens.
I want the candle,
Correct.
not the bottle.
The candle.
What?
Still.
The sound of glass cracking starts to break Gibbs's heart a little as she looks along the bottle, starting to become more familiar with exactly where the cracks are and being able to feel them in the dark, knowing what they are.
And your paws. And your bottle not cracked. You still feel the vaguely lumpy places that Shade has repaired this element. Or whoever it was that repaired it. But you recognize that it's not your bottle, and your hands go over to the candle, and you almost cut yourself because it is cracked almost straight down the middle.
And I'll whisper to it, I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is who I am anymore. But I know I can't be strong without it. And I know everyone needs the Gibbs they've gotten used to. I'm sorry.
You look at the candle, and it is really, really quiet. For the rest of you, day 2 begins.
Oh my god.
That scared me.
A
What?
nice normal day.
This feels
in the drift.
inappropriate.
Shade requested,
Yeah.
Captain Shade requested jazz music in the drift.
Imagine we're all getting our lunch time now.
appropriate. Jazz.
Yeah.
For none of you experience anything like that. All of that feeling, that overwhelming feeling, very much a Gibbs
Refreshing.
experience in the late hours of night, doing all these spells, really trying to now set this down. That is a moment that is just Gibbs. And for everybody else, you wake up slept pretty well for most of you. In the drift here, maybe you, Bubs, a little less so, in that slightly more empty space. But for you, Gibbs, a little bit more of a dark morning. For the rest of
It's
you,
on a scale. Yours was probably the worst nights.
for the rest of you, you wake up, full night's sleep. the second day within the drift dawns. You can look at your scanners and recognize the drift density fluctuates over the course of your journey ahead from 25 to 35. Nothing that is going to be exceptional, nothing that really requires your attention. Cool. At least so far. For the first day, what would you all like, or sorry, the second day, what would you all like to do?
Spice is going to wait for the next person that needs her attention.
Okay, you do that.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Echo would probably take their communicator to the engineering bay.
Okay.
And just kind of like knock to see if Shade's inside.
I think, so around lunchtime, what time do we wake up? Like 7, 8?
Probably like 6, 7 morning.
Yeah, okay, yeah. She's probably waking up early. Try to get the 4 hours in for crafting.
Yeah.
That I missed fixing the toilets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you're
what are
probably
you
in, like-
crafting?
So I have, yeah, I mean, the fusion takes me like, you probably come in when you're
10
you
minutes
got like
fusion.
10 minutes, be like, can you help me with something? Like,
You really nailed the Bob's impression right there.
Yeah, I said
Wow.
I'll have really good Bubs impressions.
so I guess 1 hour to check out this engineering box. And then after that, I want to start working on upgrading everyone's armor, everything that has come in to the engineering bay. I feel like now I have, but I guess I need to spend the time initially going through all of the pieces and putting them through the robot.
So yeah,
But actually, first, can I try and upgrade the output of said robot to produce more UPB percentage than the 10?
so is that what you're doing today?
Yes.
Okay.
But you do the fusion first.
It takes
Yeah,
10
that's-
minutes.
that's- So no problem.
There's
Bubs,
a lot of steps, and
Bubs.
you're like, oh wait, no, I'm gonna do this. Oh wait, I'm gonna.
Bubs, you go in and you're like, "Hi, I'm Bubs. Can I get my fusion installed?" That's my Bubs impression.
Nice.
And
Yes.
can I get my fusion installed?
I
And
have
here.
good, sir.
We're all androids now.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, with the quick real-time strategy repetitive animation, you install that fusion.
Enjoy
into
your
Bubs.
fusion.
For some reason, our budget just went down significantly. But yeah, no problem. You now have that fusion. That's in the Doshko?
Yeah.
So the Doshko now has the fusion of returning.
Nice.
Very cool.
Dang.
You spend the first day, or the second day that you were, the first day crafting, second day of the drift, taking this little drone out. And really for the first time looking at it, much like your ship, this is something that is very unique. The parts all proprietary. There's no bolts or nuts or screws that are Phillips heads or things like that. These are all unique parts. And so to take this apart, you would imagine is going to be a difficult task, and to upgrade it, also pretty difficult. But go ahead and make an engineering check.
So I guess I'm wondering, is there a way that I can work with its programming and its makeup with the existing UPBs that I do have to do what I want to do? But yes, I'm gonna roll.
Okay.
So Echo knocks on the door.
28.
Okay. So with the 28, what I'll say is you get the sense that this is something that is possible. But as you begin to go through this and you try to manipulate things, what you would need to do to increase the process of this would require probably additional machinery and upgrading the actual like physical makeup of this to make it larger and able to handle more product. It's limited what you can really do right now.
Okay.
But that doesn't take too much time, and then you hear a knock at the door.
Would it be all right if I did some work in the engineering bay? I require extra tools.
You are the biggest tool I know. Sorry.
That was a stellar Echo impression. Thank you.
I offer up a seat next.
And Echo is going to attempt to like, and Echo's trained in engineering, to see if they can like boost signal to kind of search for networks outside of the directors.
Okay. Go ahead and make an engineering check.
Kara doesn't know how to do this.
probably-
Echo would know how to do something similar to
It's
this.
definitely
Looking over-
tinfoil.
It's
Do
definitely
I see this happening?
Make a sense motive check.
And do I know what this is that you're working on?
Make a sense motive check.
I mean, we talked about it.
Right. So I think, because like I'm
Take
not,
a +6 conditional modifier because you specifically in code
Right.
spoke about this, and it was very cool. I'll give you that.
But this
I
is
forgot
sense
about that
motive.
one. I wanna go
But
back and
wait,
watch that.
ours negate because we're androids. So our android sense motive. Thank you. It cancels out, right?
Yeah.
I think because we get a +2, but everyone else gets a -2.
Yes, for what?
Yeah.
Strictly speaking, no. But in terms of overall math, yes,
Everything
that's how
in
it works.
balance.
Yes,
Thank you, Tyler.
just a 0.
All right.
I get what you're saying.
Good sentence.
For androids, androids get a +2 conditional modifier for like sense and
So,
motive against
okay,
others. Others have a
really?
-2 against them, and that is because like there's that uncanny valley kind of thing.
New day. I'm
For
gonna use
humans.
my whatchamacallit memory module to re-roll
Okay.
my sense motive there.
What was your check?
My engineering was 25.
Okay.
That helped a little bit. 13.
It's 25.
25. You look over and you have no idea what Echo's doing. You can see the lights like dim and glow brighter, and there's definitely something happening. And Echo, as you scan across the system, really trying to find other networks here in the drift, probably not a lot of other things. And with only a 25, the overhead kind of PA system chimes on, and you hear the director who says, Echo, are you looking for external systems?
I am merely trying to scan for other ships in this area.
There are no ships in scanner range.
I was worried that if we were to use your scanners, they would be detected.
Very well. I will cease scanning. Shade, your piloting checks will be at a -2 conditional modifier going forward.
I just like look over at Echo. Don't say anything, but like I think we make the acknowledgement like that's kind of fucking shady based on what you told me. And then I guess probably go check in on the cockpit since we don't have sensors now.
Yeah, no problem. You're like, well, I guess that makes sense.
Can I-
You make your way up?
Can I try to get the sensors back on?
How are you doing that? Are you saying?
Just go
are
turn
you?
the-
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
can I
problem.
just go to the cockpit and manually turn them on?
Yeah, you go over to the cockpit and you look over and it's off, and you're like, huh. You switch it back on, the sensors back out to sense. The director chimes on and says, Shade, please be aware. Echo has stated that our sensors could be there's a word that I wanted to say. Intercepted. So scanners have been turned off for this reason.
We'll wait a little longer until we get closer to Siren.
Very
before we
well.
Turn off scanners.
The scanners just back to full power. And that happens.
Then I'm going back to the engineering bay
No problem.
to continue.
I was gonna say this probably would have taken Echo the full morning just to like.
What time is it? Is it getting closer to lunch?
Yeah, I would say, is there anything else anybody wants to do before Shade throws
I'm gonna-
everything at the cans?
Sort of after I stop moping and like I'll take the crack candle and put it in one of my pockets and we'll open the door to the med bay, take off the do not disturb sign, and go to under Gibbs's bunk and start collecting some of my trash to wallpaper the walls with.
Okay, yeah.
And I
Little
will.
interior decoration.
Yeah. And I'll be like, hey director,
Yes, Gibbs.
will you, if I asked you to, would you not monitor the med bay, or is that not something you will do?
Monitor in what sense, Gibbs?
Well, you like watch everything, right? So like, you know what I'm doing all the time, right?
Gibbs, I do not watch in the sense that you do with eyes, but I do sense when you are aboard. I do sense when you interact with my systems.
But, like, there's a speaker in here, right? Do you hear me breathe sometimes?
Yes.
Do you hear me breathe all the time?
Gibbs, I hear you breathe all the time when you are within me.
If I asked you to, would you not?
Yes.
Sounds-
Please be aware, turning off this interface will make it impossible to communicate with me until it is turned back on.
Can I only do it for this room?
Yes.
Can I trust him?
Make a sense motive check.
Wait until we need like oxygen support and the systems are like not on detective.
You guys are like going through the ship,
28.
just turning your safety mechanisms off
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, you're like turning your scanners off. You're like, you know what? We don't need Windows. 28. With the 28, you think about it, and you look over. You see some lights power down. The speaker, like that kind of almost not static, but the sound of a speaker being open stops. And as far as you can tell, no longer like active is this room in the medbay. It's the medbay or the communal area?
No, it's the med bay
Medbay,
specifically.
yeah. So yeah, as far as you can
So
tell,
where Gibbs does all our shenanigans.
and it doesn't seem as if I mean, it's really hard to tell. This is a spaceship, and so being able to tell if it's telling the truth or not already kind of an abstract thought process, but hard to tell. As far as you can tell, not listening.
Hey, director. Hey, director. And then sort of throughout the time, I will play with the bounds of it being able to hear me or not,
Okay.
and just start to change the it's like a bad mixtape. Just like every time I'm like, oh hey director, like tell me something, you know, or like change the music, or I'm cold, turn it up.
How loud are you going to be?
Super annoying in like this vicinity as I'm like darting in and out of the med bay to figure out like the aura of my noise and the level of my voice would need to be in order to be detected by the speaker outside of the med bay.
Generally speaking, as long as you're staying in the med bay, nothing. But if you leave the med bay door open, that's when in the hallway you'll hear, yes, Gibbs, but nothing from within the room itself.
And I recall back to the Alexa and how I used my butt to like muffle the speakers and just start to like sort of soundproof the door as much as I can, but all like again more for my own sense of security so that they were turned back on. Like
Yeah, no
there's
problem.
something there.
You
that
take
makes
some
Gibbs feel
blankets, you
better.
put them
Yeah.
around like the edges of the door, everything that you would do to keep like a room from being drafty, you kind of do. You know, sound travels through the air, and so one follows the other. No problem. You don't need to roll for that.
Yeah, no, I do.
Paranoia is free.
Cool.
Anything else before Shade?
No, I want to get to the shade.
Shade.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. Team meeting after everyone's gotten their lunch, I guess.
After you go about whatever it is that you do for
Director.
lunch, your meat pucks,
Where are we
etc.
gonna meet?
Call our crew.
I assume in the
mess
regular
hall.
place.
Our crew, yeah, our crew
Okay.
meeting space.
Our dining
The chime
table.
goes off, and the
The
director
literal
says,
mess hall.
Shade
that,
has called a group meeting.
I only
In the
hear it
mess
because
hall.
the door is open. And then I
You do see in the room the lights do dun, 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 and like shift into that blue the same way that they would before.
squint at them and think suspiciously if that's breaking the requirement of which I
When you
asked.
squint at them, they do get a little dimmer, but mostly because your eyes are getting narrower.
Yeah.
Bubs is
I
gonna
go.
peek out of the armory and just like see if Spice is going down the hallway the same time as him, and if he sees her not doing, he's gonna.
Spice
quickly
is looking straight ahead, smoking a cigarette, and making sure not to divert her gaze, and then turns into the room without, like, very unnaturally.
So like right by you, and then into the room. No problem.
All right, I go in there.
Okay.
Hey,
I feel like Echo's already in there.
What?
Hi
All of you.
guys.
you got a meeting? Are we
Yes.
close?
We'll be there in another day and a half, roughly.
You still want your drift jazz?
Yeah.
We can change it.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you had a different.
We did a good job yesterday getting through the column. That's something that we need to continue to work on.
Piloting?
Working in cohesion with one another. I would like to begin doing team training exercises.
What do you
Like-
mean by that?
Like trust falls and stuff? Here, I'll do a trust fall. Spice, catch me!
Shield Spice dives
Make a
onto the
reflex
floor.
saving throw. And as all this happens, you can see
18?
Squeak. 18, yeah, no problem. You dive and catch Gibbs. And it's a very...
We're a team! We're a team! This is a good team.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this.
Shade, at your leg, boom, you feel this big bump, and you see Squeak is like kind of thrown himself up against you in a mock trust fall attempt.
No, I think this is a good idea.
Spice glares at Bubbles
Oh,
from
I'm here
across the
for
table.
it. What's the flavor of thing?
Well, eventually I would like to begin doing combat training as a team together, but before we do that, I believe that there's
Combat training, you say?
Like football
tension
formations?
within certain team members.
I call Bubbles as my partner.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I just want to repeat yesterday, if you catch my drift.
Ha!
Thank you, Echo.
Oh my god, you laughed!
I do indeed laugh. I am very fun.
That was joyous! You are fun!
I remember that.
I loved that.
But so what kind of training exercises are you thinking of, Jade?
Well, first, we need to start talking about issues that have
The elephant in the room, you mean?
caused problems with team dynamic. Namely, Spice beating you up yesterday.
Oh no, she didn't really beat me up. I mean, it was just like, you know, like
Bubs has a black eye. He has like a little bit like like fights when you get like your lips split
Yeah.
and there's that little like dark line down the middle. He's not looking like his best, for what it's worth.
Bubbles made me an anchor room.
yeah, I did that, and that's totally what happened.
But did you intend to be part of it? Because
Well, I mean, I
Regardless,
put myself in the way, so I mean, it's kind of my fault.
you cannot injure other team members.
He's the one who brought me in there. That's his fault.
She's
Why don't
right, it is my fault.
why don't you tell him what you told me yesterday? It might be really helpful. Why don't you start with the words "I feel" and then just say what you feel?
Gibbs, you're pulling on like the very little bits of your medical officer handbook that you read. You remember briefly you ripped a page out, and right before you wiped with it, you were like, I wonder what this actually says.
Okay, ready? Here, I'll say I feel hungry. I feel anxious when at night.
I feel like I should be captain, and I feel like Shade should give it to me, and I feel like Bubbles
Bubs.
should be my first officer.
How about starting with I feel like when Bubbles does.
I feel like when Gibbs takes over the conversation, that Shade needs to be the captain for once.
I think maybe we address the tension. It's addressed, so maybe we could, you know, do the training exercises, Shade.
I'm trying to help.
What, Shade?
I told you yesterday, I intend to have you be made captain. But can you honestly look at yourself right now and say that you would be a rational and level-headed captain, considering everyone?
Spice was looking at Shade right in the eyes, and sorry,
Eye to eye.
eye to eye, was looking eye to eye. Yeah. And then, harrowed by what he just said, she, like, taken back, but also too prideful to admit that he's right, she goes, "Of course! I'd be the best captain there is."
Yeah, I think she'd be
Shade
great.
just stares.
Okay. You stare, but that stare is not returned.
I feel like being under Spice as captain would give me diarrhea.
I mean, you already farted yesterday. It's already like you have diarrhea under shade.
And I just cleaned the bathrooms, and it's. I mean, Gibbs, I think Spice would be a good captain.
Damn straight.
Bubs feels,
Shade, I feel like this isn't what you wanted to talk about.
Bubs feels a little bit better.
I apologize.
I don't think you should.
What?
Were you not listening? Sense motive.
Sense motive. Honorable honesty.
Everybody's like, excuse me?
Oh.
Except Bubs.
No, I know something.
Except Dan.
No, I know
30.
something.
Cancels out. 27.
27. Okay, with a 30
I
and
also
a
got a
27.
27.
And another 27. What do you think?
Oh, hold on. I used it. Something is pulling at Shade's attention.
And I'm gonna approach. You seem a little distracted, and I wanted to try something. Could I? And I start to sort of pull at the cork of my bottle.
Shade, as all of this is happening, whether other people are recognizing it or not, whoever rolled a 30, I would say,
Yeah.
you recognize in just a moment, you can see Shade's right eye kind of flick over. And it was as if Shade is looking to the left for a moment. Shade, inside of you, there is a lot happening. The processes that are normally clean for an android, the same way that involuntary thought for humans sort of works, heartbeats, breathing, it's like you now have to think about breathing a little bit. You have to think a little bit about where your tongue is in your mouth. And you begin to feel weird. For a moment, it's like you're not in the right body. Or maybe more appropriately, like you are in a body that's not quite yours anymore. But that clears and you kind of turn over. What? You look at Spice, and that's when you all kind of make this insight check or the sense motive check, and there is something that is pulling at him.
Bubs doesn't notice this happening, but he just like feels like the long pause.
So are we gonna be doing the training exercises?
He's gonna like poke at Shade.
We should start off with basics.
Oh, like what?
I splash into my
Hand-to-hand
hands
exercises.
Oh,
some bottled
Standard jabs.
juice.
Blocks.
oh, okay. All right.
And I touch Shade on the sides of the face. And I cast Remove Affliction. Seeing if that does anything. It basically removes impurities from a creature or object, potentially neutralizing curses, diseases, infestations, poisons, and other harmful conditions affecting it. I can make a caster level check for each curse affecting stuff. If I remove the affliction, I also remove basically the effects that come with the condition, but you can continue to have the condition like be redone. But I want to see if it gives him any relief.
Shade, this is like, the stuff is going on. You feel really surreal. All of a sudden, right in your face, this wet, Yosoki hands just grasp you and then release you. And you look over, Gibbs is like searching your face for meaning. And all that you really see is dampness. It doesn't seem to have done anything really to Shade.
And so like
And
jabs
it's
and, and I could like show you guys some of my moves. Like,
But how does that help me? I mean,
well, you gotta fight too.
yeah, but like, I'm not gonna fight hand to hand with somebody.
I seen you bite people before. That's pretty good.
Well, I bit all of you guys, but I don't think I've ever bit anyone else successfully.
Well, maybe you could, like, try. I mean, Squeak bit me the other day, and I'm gonna show, like, the bite on, like, my thigh. It hurt, like a lot, like, really bad. Like, you could probably do something like that.
Why would Squeak bite Bubs? Why did Squeak... Why did you bite Bubs?
He looks over at Bubs, and you can see he doesn't seem to have any like ill will towards Bubs in this moment. He just kind of like cocks his head, and the goggles slide a little bit to the right, and hard to tell. I mean, give me 1 second here. I gotta remember my Starfinder skills.
It's because he's been with
Make a survival
Keith
check.
for so long that he.
Ooh! I get an advantage to survival
what does he do?
because of my bullshit. Oh, I keep rolling
Little
15
angsty.
tonight. This is killing me. This is great.
he can't
15 plus
coddle.
13 is 28.
Squeak doesn't have any ill will towards Bubs, but as like Bubs kind of shows this, and you can see Bubs has like the black eye and everything. I mean, Bubs was in a fight, and Squeak probably just got caught up in the moment and started biting whoever was nearby.
He was
If
probably,
Spice had been closer to the door, it would have been Spice.
he's probably just training, like how we are. Come on, Spice, Gibbs, why don't you give a bite?
And I like hold up my arm, and I flex when I do it too.
While all this is happening, Shade, there is an element of what is real that is slowly peeling away. At first, it's almost impossible to notice. It looks almost like the little floaties that you have in your eyes. You turn and they kind of drift. But then you see it's almost like the walls are slowly, particle by particle, falling away. Numbers and code just peeling off, and there is something underneath. You see Bubs, who is just kind of like talking the words, just unaudible to you through whatever is going on. And for just a moment, make a perception check.
Oh my god. 22.
Just like us. And Bubs just like everything comes back into focus, and you are just right back on the
Come
ship.
on, give me a good bite.
All right, on
That's
three.
not
1, 2,
what
3.
I.
And all of a sudden, Gibbs just chomps down on Bubs, and combat training has begun.
Bubs is like trying to like endure it and like try to show like how strong he is because he knows that impresses Spice.
And Gibbs is going to, because she's got the gimmick in her cheek pouch, start just salivating acid.
Phenomenal. So you go ahead and you bite, and not technically how this works. I believe it is damage from spells.
Yeah, well, I'll cast a spell. I'll cast fucking detect magic. I don't know. I'll cast fatigue.
Okay.
Oh shit.
So
Is
as
this like not releasing? Is this like a dog who's clamped
so
down?
I'm
and is
clamped
not-
down. I start to salivate
I
acid.
have a roll to make against your magic ability.
Yeah, so-
and I have +2 to the
So
save.
you
if
have
it's
to make a
spell.
try
fortitude
to get
save.
this-
Oh, okay, that's gonna be super.
to stop.
Yeah, this is happening rather quickly, so hang on 1 second. We'll get to that.
Okay, so that's a 9 plus a 9, 18 plus 2. That's 21.
Oh yeah, it's a cantrip, so it's definitely above my DC.
Yeah.
So yeah, you like are able to pull away from this kind of like quick and sudden jerk reaction to bite, and you see the saliva already kind of like gross for Gibbs, but suddenly it shifts, and you can see as it like drops down, it like off of like an element of the pocket, and something's going on with Gibbs that is even more dangerous and dirty than before, and so you pull back.
Oh, I mean,
Did I do good?
yeah, I mean, this is just a training, but that's good. You
You
should.
need to do it properly.
What's that mean?
Oh, well, you're the captain. Let us know.
You need to hone your skills before you start attacking. You don't want to injure Bubs again,
Oh,
even
okay.
if you don't do it intentionally.
I kiss again.
Do you want to try it again?
How do I hone? Oh, I got it. I take out a nail file.
Bubs is gonna like raise up his arm again and get ready.
And you
The
just hear
nail
the
file.
sound of bone being
Oh.
filed as I file my
Oh.
teeth.
Oh, everybody takes a little psychic damage as all of a sudden Gibbs just begins to file her teeth down right in the middle of this
all right.
small space.
Bubs,
Yeah.
There's like that like audio glitch.
go to the armory.
Okay. Yes, captain.
Get the riot.
Okay, yes, Captain.
Hey,
He's in the-
Spice.
Yes, Captain. Yes,
Hey,
Captain.
Spice.
What?
Have you talked to Shade?
No.
Maybe you should. Remember we talked about helping him out?
Yes.
Are you gonna do that?
I'm gonna wait for him to approach me.
Are you gonna do it nicely? Are you gonna hurt him?
Spice thinks about Gibbs's mind link and how Shade just completely owned her not even 5 minutes ago. And is like, fine,
Promise?
but only for you.
At this
And
moment,
I will cast Build Trust
What?
at Spice. Which you need to do a will saving throw.
Helpful spell.
21.
So you pass, but you pass.
Period.
Yeah.
Is
You
it-
just notice Gibbs looks really clean.
You look nice.
Thanks, I'm trying.
She like leans in and smells. She's like, is that shampoo? Did you use my shampoo?
It was just in the shower.
Who are you?
At
What's
this moment,
happening?
Bubs probably comes back from the armory with the shield and probably like some padding and some other stuff. And just
The
drops it.
riot is the robot.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the riot.
It's the
shield.
rioter robot.
Okay, I'll bring the rioter robot. But I also probably will bring the other stuff too.
Yeah,
'cause
why
why not? Yeah, I got everything, and I'm like lay everything on the table.
Bose puts down like some of those little traffic cones that you have at like soccer
Yeah.
practice. He has some jerseys, you know, like the pennies that you have. Yeah,
the reflective ones.
exactly.
Oh, from
Yeah.
our lockout tournament. Nice.
Yeah. So how are we gonna use it with this robot cheat?
We will attack the robot, not each other.
Okay.
Okay, so like in formation or just like.
We all have certain abilities that are unique to us. We need to hone those in unison. We need to learn about each other's strengths and weaknesses. Watching each other do that will help us to begin that process.
Okay. I can go first.
Well, you just why don't we have like Echo do something or Spice?
So the way that we can do this to expedite this particular process, if you're going to begin to hold some team training sessions, over time, this will begin to have dividends for you over the course of your missions. So not at first, this is something that you'll be doing and it will take up a certain amount of time.
I
But
was thinking like an hour a day,
Yeah.
every
Oh, yeah,
other day
yeah.
to start, and then once we start to get into it, we can up it a little. You know, then
so
it's
you
like
can build
not
your
even a
curricula
thing that
later.
we have
but
to schedule.
The gist of it right now is that you're going to take some time every
We
day to
have
kind
our
of do
talkie
this.
sessions before we fight.
And over time, you will begin to notice that there are some benefits to this. And those will manifest themselves as over the course, like between these sort of rest periods that you have, you may benefit from certain numbers of rerolls and things of that nature. That's in the distance.
Echo, I'm making you the personal development officer.
Are you putting in actual
It's-
paperwork for this?
Yeah, was that Shade or was that Matt?
It's like, this is Matt.
Yeah,
There's no
it was
personal
not Shade
development
voice.
officer on the
I'm
ship
pretty
right
sure
now,
that's a
right?
subdivision of my department.
So Mosaic, within Mosaic policies, the captain of a ship does have certain leeway to create positions. You cannot exceed the pay grade of the employee without your supervisor's approval, who would be Pete. However,
So it'll just be a useless title.
yes. And you have the flexibility of like assigning and delegating duties, and so you could like sort of make it matter, but
If
Yeah,
Shade
really.
does do that in game, Echo is incredibly confused as to why this has happened.
yeah.
Shade would never do that
That's
because
what I'm
it's
just
totally
like-
useless.
Yes.
It's
I feel like
pointless.
that would just mean like they could roll a 2 on a sense
Doesn't
motive
matter.
check and know that something is wrong with Shade.
So no worries.
You know what I thought you'd like? Useless
People.
title.
You begin your first very awkward practice session, and it's a lot of people kind of smoking and complaining and sort of half-heartedly going after this. However,
Gibbs is going Full fart.
Full fart. Okay.
I set the robot to like training mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, especially for the beginning, this is really like a couple of people, like you feeling each other out. Like, what can you do? How can we work together? And that's how it's going to be for like the first couple times that you do this. But no problem. You spend a couple hours doing this, and around 2 o'clock, you all finish. Some of you a little bit more. You know what? Go ahead and make a fortitude saving throw.
Everyone?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
This has to be.
It's a low DC.
This has to be the time
28.
that the new dice.
Well, it depends. What are your modifiers?
I mean,
Oh,
it fits.
6.
Where the fortitude save? Oh.
Yeah.
28.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
10.
How do you get a 28? What? That's
I'm
nuts.
A 9.
Fortitudinous.
I have a plus 19.
You all
plus
begin this process just kind of feeling it out, just trying, and you have this thing set to like training mode. You do not want people to push themselves hard or hurt each other or possibly become like a little bit overstrained. And then, like, after a while, you recognize it's just Bubs and the robot sparring, and they're doing the exact thing that you tell them to. Bubs is, like, going out of his way, like, okay, are you ready? Oh, sorry. And, like, he's, like, apologizing to the robot and everything. Everything going great. You look over to the other side, and not interacting with the robot in any way. Like, Gibbs is chasing Spice around. Echo is like, wait, and just, like tracing them around. Things have kind of gone off the rails over there. To the point that all of you end up exerting yourself, whether it is through, well, the three of you, through the process of your additional exertions, don't really get a benefit out of this session. And in addition, Spice, with that 6, at the very end, you are so tired from being chased by Gibbs, by swords.
Wait, I'm tired! Talk about your feelings!
At the very end,
Cybernetic lunge.
you call the session, you're like, stop, everybody, and then Spice just vomits on the ground. So Spice, you've been trying so hard to like really hold it together and hold some semblance of but it all just comes out, and you just throw up all these old
Does
eats
everyone
pucks
just
onto the
stop
ground.
and notice?
This is like right when Shade stopped, so everybody has stopped.
We're all just like right.
Fucking around, yeah.
Everybody's like breathing hard, like like arms on their legs, and all of a sudden Spice just vomits in the middle of the circle.
It's loud.
Yeah.
She like yells when she vomits.
Yeah,
That's what you do.
that's what I do. I don't know why, I just can't not do it. I hate throwing up. The worst.
Nice job. Do you feel better?
I'm so fucking tired. Stop chasing me.
Gibbs, can you bring Spice to the med bay? Get her some water.
I pull out a water bottle from my like shit
Yeah,
because
sure,
I
you
have
can.
one. You can go.
Spice wipes her mouth, flicks the remaining vomit onto the floor, and drinks the water bottle.
Little door opens up at the bottom of the ship, and you see that little drone come out with the brush and just brushes the little spit into the little container in it.
Thank you,
Back into the
director
wall.
/ Alexa. Don't know which one it was, but thank you both.
I squint at that one. That's the only robot I haven't molested in a while.
You haven't had it. You can't catch it because it's too small and too fast. It's the only one that you're not able to somehow repurpose.
It's like somehow been programmed to avoid Gibbs and her mess, because like otherwise it'd just be there nonstop.
Yeah,
like someone's done that, and it's like,
I think it does try. I just don't think that it really can make a meaningful difference in your mess. Its tool is not sufficient for that. It needs industrial. But you have your first training session.
we did it.
We did it.
The second day goes by.
Something.
The third day dawns, these hours ticking
Oh.
by. Oh,
I cast Nightmare again. This time I'm gonna cast it twice.
okay.
So first against Chesterfield, please.
I think that is a 17.
DC 19.
Yep, so it's a fail.
Okay. So he wakes up and is restless a second night.
I'm going to go to my Chesterfield dream journal now.
Yeah.
Aww.
No joke. I
Yeah.
started one.
And so this one is just about ripping away the like facade, and just as Gibbs is like dealing with kind of the walls that all of her like people are putting up and trying to like navigate them, and also the self-reflection she's needing to do lately. She thinks about Chesterfield sort of looking himself in the face and and hoping he sees the same monster that Gibbs sees.
Make a sense motive check.
He's like,
22.
Yeah, you don't really sense much beyond that. You get the sense that connects, and you feel your consciousness like kind of briefly interact, but Nothing really beyond that.
And then, as Gibbs starts to sort of explore the edges of this newfound power, she's been feeding the bottle the remnants of the cow hock. And so she's just like rib bone after rib bone, kind of feeding it the other half of the raw half of the cow that she couldn't deep fry.
So, for what it's worth, as you pull into your Starfinder backpack, as you are like pulling the other parts out, it does not stop decay. And so,
Yeah.
like, you're pulling out like old meat. This is now 3-day-old unrefrigerated meat. And so you're pulling that out. It smells bad. Maggots and flies cannot get to this, and so there is no like ruin to it. But it's not a good smell. For you, pretty pleasant.
Can I have all of the leftovers from Lola.
Mhm.
Can I sense if my bottle would be better off if I was not scavenging garbage and feeding it things that are of higher value
Make a
than garbage?
physical sciences check.
Okay. Yeah, 24.
24.
Which is it's only a +5, but I rolled like good.
With a 24, you get the sense that what you put into something certainly affects what comes out. And the garbage elements that you've been kind of feeding into it, you see the color, you smell yourself, and you do smell a little better. There is certainly still the garbagey smell. These things might change should you change the way in which you're feeding this bottle. The way that your powers manifest might change. Who knows? You don't really understand how it works.
Yeah.
But certainly what you put into it affects it.
Can I put the little robot-y guy into my backpack so he can clean out the dead meat?
Make a
I had to catch it first.
make an unarmed strike. Yeah, I mean that's
Bottle's
really what
going
this
vegan.
is.
10.
So
To
Gibbs,
catch this
you
little
go and you use so the second half of that day, everybody's exhausted except for Gibbs, who is now energized by the training experience, and Gibbs is on all fours, just tearing around, Squeak following, barking at your heels. So both of you have the zoomies just like going in and around the track, and this little drone zipping by. And though there's a point, Gibbs, where you recognize. It's almost like, though it could just go into the wall, it's just like taking you in circles now. And part of it is that like it would need to stop and like go in, and it can't quite do that. But like it takes a good amount of time for you.
Oh, but I catch it?
No,
Oh, fuck.
you rolled a natural 20, so
Oh.
certainly.
In this meantime, I think as we're actually probably getting close, Bubs is going to start actually trying to focus. We have another day.
Yeah, one more day.
So this is the final day, and so this is when you're arriving. So you'll be arriving
Okay.
right now in about 12 hours.
Before
So Bubs, what were you doing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a bounty, my bounty professional
Sure.
bounty board.
Yeah, make your culture
on
check.
Tombstone.
Okay.
Get us back into actual bounty hunting.
What are we here for?
Yeah. We're here for Chip.
we were here for, I thought there was like a really
is,
nice
23.
ice cream place in this area.
With the 23,
Yeah.
you begin to look through the forums, and you don't find a whole lot. You do find an old bounty posting for Tombstone. It's about 2 years old, and so like relatively out of date. It's a much lower amount than something that people would probably give you, and so probably higher than this. It does mention that they pilot a small exploration class vessel called Gravedigger.
All right, I'm gonna share that information in the group chat. And as I'm on my comms, I'm just gonna check to see if I have any messages from Steel.
Nothing from Still yet.
From Steel. And can I just do a quick, while I'm just on the comms, just one more thing I want to do. I know Steel mentioned about the pirate attacks
Yeah.
on the drift beacons in Prime Station. Can I do a cross check on the infosphere to see where these attacks are mainly taking place? And see if they're mainly focusing on one faction, like the GPF, the USR space, like any specific area?
Yeah. Make a cultures check.
At some point,
This is not benefiting from a bonus from your bounty background.
Yeah,
This is
I
really-
figured. That was.
I want to find Spice after she has recovered from vomiting and rested for a bit.
We'll do that
plus
next.
6, 21.
21. With the 21, you do find that there is certainly increased pirate activity. You can't find any patterns.
Okay.
You find evidence of it in both USR space, GPF space. There is no news in the infosphere coming from the Vescarium, and so hard to tell if it carries over there. The Vescarium is like Iron Curtain. Like if they have not dominated a planet, it is not part of their sphere of influence. It's not really part of their world. So not really a whole lot of patterns to be found.
Okay, I'm gonna share this to the group chat and just let people know that.
Hey, I don't see any patterns with these pirate attacks or any maybe motive or anything. So maybe it's just pirates being pirates.
Shade, you go, and after giving Spice a little bit of time, a respectful amount of time to recover from the state that they were in, you can find them.
Where's Spice right now?
She's gonna be in the bunk above Gibbs's bed.
All right. I guess
A little bit
knocking on
pale-faced and
the door.
Is there even a lock on the door? She doesn't answer and just waits.
They slide.
They
So
slide.
Yeah.
There's only a lock in the
But that's also the communal one.
Yeah.
So
She's in
yeah.
that one.
I think all the doors have locks, but like
yeah.
they're pretty simple.
Yeah, all of them have the ability to be locked and magnetized. That's part of being a bulkhead. But
Yeah.
unless you actively lock them, they're never assumed to be locked.
Yeah. It's more,
Like Shade has done it a couple
politeness. Yeah. Just like politely do the like. Shoot.
You find her sweaty on the bed.
How are you feeling?
Better. How are you?
I'm fine. We need to talk.
Please sit down. She motions towards the couch.
I understand your frustrations. You need to control yourself. I also need to control myself. I need your help.
I'm listening.
A captain needs to support their crew. I need you to support me.
How, Jade?
I do not want to be the captain. But I cannot disobey the orders from people.
Spice trying so hard to keep herself controlled because all she wants to do right now is scream at Shade. But she just kind of looks at Shade, and he can probably see by her fidgeting that she's like, yeah, with her one eye, like, just nodding and not saying anything.
I understand that you want to be captain. You're upset. You're upset with Bubs. It is okay to be upset. But you cannot attack your teammates. No matter what, we need to support each other.
Spice takes in a deep breath, raises one finger, and goes, "What if he invited it? What if he wanted me to do it, Shade? That's what you were there when we had the boxing match. Bubbles wants me to fight him. He wants me to work out my stuff physically. That's not how I do it, but that's how he thinks I do.
And that's how you have done it.
With him."
You know that Bubs is somewhat naive about certain things.
Are you making excuses for him? Because that's what
I'm
it sounds
not
like.
making excuses.
Then what are you doing?
Bubs needs to work on certain things as well. We all do.
Yes,
This discussion is about you.
and I'm here listening.
You need to be more supportive as a team member. I understand your frustrations, and we want to support you. But you cannot lash out at other team members in your frustration.
I don't think you're hearing me, Shade. Bubbles invited that, so I was just doing as I was told.
Regardless, you took it too far.
Maybe. She leans back.
You know that Bubs relies very heavily on you.
You don't think I do on him?
I do, but you cannot take advantage of that.
Spice, as Shade says this, you think back, and your entire experience just now on Akaton was all about people kind of feeling like you took advantage of them and then left. And what Shade is kind of talking about right now definitely evokes some of that. There are shadows of that are starting to creep back in. And you remember Gibbs telling you, like, she was so proud of you. You not only did all these great things that as a team you did together, but you in particular had a city begin to sort of accept you after you had turned your back on them and vice versa. And that was a good feeling, but you're beginning to feel that slip away a little bit. And you can see what Shade is saying. There is certainly some truth to this.
Fine, Shade. I'll be your not captain.
That's not what I'm saying.
Then what are you saying? Just say it out loud.
I'm saying you need to be ready to take over.
I feel like you keep saying that, but what does that even mean?
I don't have that answer. You need
Then
to
how
look
am I
inward
supposed to... Do you see the predicament that I'm in then?
very clearly, more than you would probably recognize. That is why, when you're ready, when you've taken your time, I do need your help. Regardless of whatever my sensors are indicating, there is something happening that I do not understand.
Spice relaxes her shoulders a little bit and looks into Shade's good eye with her good eye, realizing the severity of the direction of the conversation.
I'm not asking you now, but when you feel comfortable, I do want your help.
Okay.
Think about what we've discussed. Try to be more considerate of Bub's feelings. Don't hurt him too badly.
Spice boils inside a little bit at that, but keeps her composure because she's being nice right now. She's in nice mode.
Growth.
And then I will give you the room.
She like salutes and exits.
So you have that conversation. Very nice.
Where do you go?
There's only about
Back up to her bug.
there's only about 10 hours left. And so is there any last things that you want to do before dropping into the siren system?
Spell.
Oh yeah.
So
you won't get to the point at which you're like redoing that spell. That's probably 8 hours into when you are in the system itself.
so this, because I'm casting against a different target this
Oh
time.
yeah, please.
So this time, sort of the third night, set the alarm, And it's starting to become sort of a habit, you know, like my body's starting to become sort of used to the binaural sleep that I'm forcing it to be part of.
Sure.
And this time when I go into the med bay, I look at the Junk Falls thing that Bubs made for me. And I think as much as I'm punishing Chesterfield, I'm not really solving my own problems. And so this time the spell that I cast is still Nightmare, but I want to cast it against Dust.
Okay.
Because if he's asleep and alive, it will be the closest connection we've had. And so I pull on the life link between us. It goes nowhere. It ends sort of in a straggly line. But if I can at least connect with him, even though I know that I'm inflicting hurt upon him, I will feel better.
You reach your consciousness out. And as your mind travels through the clouds, you feel another consciousness asleep on the other end. What is the save?
It's a 19 will save.
Dust is a pretty good will save. That is a 15.
And so the nightmare that I'm inflicting him with is just that something is coming for him. And I know that through the way that the spell works, it will terrify him. But Gibbs takes all of that pent-up feralness that she is trying really hard to kind of keep together and just sends it down into this, I want you back.
Okay. You concentrate and focus on the spell, reaching out across the stars and to Dust, who you haven't seen in a long time, and who has been missing and separate from the family. You feel the consciousness. You cast this nightmare into their being. And as you do, make a perception check.
19 on the dice and perception's like a bazillion. Hold on.
Jesus.
Bazillion and 19.
13 plus 19 is 32.
You reach out and you feel this horror just like spread across and into Dust's mind. And at the same exact time, elsewhere in your bunk, you hear the glass from the candle shatter completely, all the way broken.
Uh-oh.
For the rest of you, the drift begins to tick down and down and down. Is there anything else that you want to do before arriving? Echo.
Research siren.
Make a cultures check, please. Yeah.
Someone's
I
gotta
love
do
how,
it.
I love how there's the internet. You guys, it's always like the last second you see the planet you're landing, you're like, oh, right.
That was
At
gonna
some
be
point-
what Echo did on day 3.
Sorry.
At some point, I wanted to seek out Echo to have a bit of a pre-landing
Culture check, you said?
discussion.
Yeah.
27.
The 27. You access the infosphere to learn a little bit more about the Siren system. So, Siren itself is a violent system. It's right on the galactic interior edge of the Orion Nebula. It is sort of a galactic nursery in and of itself, that entire area of space that is a birthplace for new stars at its core. But Siren itself, kind of on the edge of it, and because of that, there are many bits of matter and mass that are ejected from the star creation process, not quite fast enough to leave the gravitational pull of the star Siren, this blue star, and so they end up swirling in a very similar ring to the ones that are around Saturn, right? Saturn's the ringed one. And I know space. And as a result, Siren has accumulated something known as the Screaming Fields of Siren. This is accumulation of ice, stone, and a tremendous amount of wreckage that it navigates around the station that you are trying to reach, the one station left active in the system, Canosa Station, at about 6,000 miles an hour. And I would say with that check, 6,288 miles an hour to be precise. Roughly the speed that the moon orbits the Earth.
Echo would put out like a little dossier that they just like pinged everyone's communicator.
Now, what was the total check?
27.
Siren is a super hot and violent blue star, produces significant levels of radiation, along with frequent coronal ejections, which swirl off in the distance, and that adds to this debris field. When those happen, it can also create large electromagnetic pulses, which are not powerful enough to damage you as an android, but can certainly mess with sensors. Additionally, you know that when you arrive in this system, there will be thousands of elements of debris. Your scanners will be pretty limited to begin with, but beyond even that, you do learn that amongst the frozen wrecks of the screaming fields, primarily within Siren, aside from Canosa Station, there are two huge asteroids, Siren 308A and Siren 21C2. These are the two that were primarily set to be mined. Mining did occur on CO8A. With that check, which is pretty good, there was a Jacinto Corporation funded modular mining system prototyped and set up on Siren 21C2.
Siren 21C2.
Yep.
Jacinto Mining Corp.
Specifically, it was... Give me 1 second here. Jacinto Prototype Mining Module. That's
Really
a good
testing
check.
my click
That's a good check.
Reading the dossier, do I think that Siren is larger than one? Is Siren a planetary body?
So as you read what Echo puts out, no, Siren is a system. Siren as a system is named for its star. The lone star in the system is called Siren. It's a blue star.
Okay.
The thing that everybody has been talking about, the call of Siren, the mines of Siren exist, you just learned, on Siren 308A. It is a specific asteroid in the Siren system that probably orbits the star in that huge field of debris.
Was the high level of radiation something that our armor will be able to counteract? Because I think
In
they're
its
all
normal
built in
state,
with,
yeah, of course.
like the normal radiation.
When these coronal
protection.
ejections happen, from what
Then
Echo
it's-
has said,
then
it gets
it's
a little more
watch out.
dicey.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to get some equipment to maybe protect against that.
I have a
Perhaps.
radiation band.
It really depends on where
don't.
this orbit is.
Yeah.
So like much like the Earth, it's not always the same distance from Siren, and so if you guys are getting in when it's close, you certainly do. If it's far away, you're fine.
Okay. Try to start timing out when.
Okay.
I, as a follow-up to Echo's dossier, start to send photos of Crumb.
Okay. So
True.
all of you begin to get photos of Crumb.
And like some of them are just like butts that I know is Crumb's butts.
Yeah.
Spam emails.
But then I will also just follow it up with a little text blurb about like my recollection of the treasure map that Crumb was
Make a flat
following.
intelligence check.
Ooh, gladly.
Where's Echo right now?
Echo does most of their research in their communal bunk area.
12.
With the 12, you think real hard about what that map looks like, and you remember it was kind of a chaotic map on a table full of junk behind everything that glows, and so you can't recall details. Especially, you do remember Screaming Fields of Siren. You remember a little crayon drawing of Crumb's spaceship, which is called I think everything like all that glitters.
All that glitters!
And you remember very specifically a big red circle, but there was just dots and bits of junk on there, and Crumb had just eaten like a bunch of chips, and so hard to tell.
But I'll like fill it out with all of Crumb's like details that I know, and just like he's got a birthmark in his left like tail feather or whatever,
He has
tail
a pierced
whisker.
tail and has a little feather attached to the earring.
So how close are we getting to our destination, Joe?
2 hours.
2
1
hours,
hour.
wow.
I mean, you guys are going to be there.
Are we 1 hour?
You guys can be there right this second. I'm really waiting until you guys are done with your things.
I'm ready to be there.
Anything else? Last thing.
I squint at Shade.
You squint at Shade.
What?
You squint
Does he
back.
seem therapized?
I mean, I'm probably I'm probably in the cockpit right now at this
Hard to
point because
tell,
it's
hard to
getting
tell.
close to.
Okay. Then I plug in the Gibbs keyboard and we'll
landing
help
pad,
with
right?
landing.
Okay. You put in the
I'm
Gibbs
focusing on
keyboard.
the,
You focus in. The clock ticks down.
The solar flare.
2 hours, 1 hour, half an hour. And as you approach the destination, Shade, you put your hand on the controls, you yank back, and all of a sudden, all around you, the elements of the drift drop away. You emerge into a system. Give me 1 second. Let me change the music, actually, because you guys are in the drift. No more drift smooth jazz.
Bob is just going to be in the armory, sitting by the bed and just looking at the imprint of where Spice used to sleep in the bed.
Okay.
I guess at some point when we're like maybe an hour away, I'd ping Echo to the cockpit.
I'm there too, because I am helping land.
You drop out into this space. You can see huge clouds of debris all around. Your scanners instantly kind of become almost useless because of the density of this debris. But all around you, just tiny little bits. Nothing terribly dangerous. Things that will just ping off or evaporate really in the shields. In the distance, however, there are many hunks of rocks that appear to be more asteroid in nature. They're huge. And there are several with moving elements of ice, spinning rings of debris that trail like large clouds of sparks behind, catching the glow of Siren, this blue storming star that is quite a distance off. In front of you, you can see, in front of this star, all kinds of ruins of ships. Some of them still ping up and are recognizable. You see elements that were you to get closer, you could certainly investigate. But all of it traveling quite quickly. If you begin to scan the area, the static and the debris make it pretty difficult, and so the scans that you have about half length. Okay. And as you progress further, the field does begin to get denser. The hulks of the ships do glow here and there, and so sometimes where it is black as you drift, the glint of the light will catch, and you'll see just a ship like up here, and you'll have to navigate around. But so far, not too bad.
It's like a ship graveyard, essentially.
This is one part like an asteroid belt, and then one part the ships that have been crushed within.
Cool.
Digger.
So I feel like should be on high alert pretty much now that we've entered not atmosphere, but orbit.
Yeah.
But in the cockpit, I'm gonna actually use my new level 7 ability. I can connect to the ship's systems within 500 feet, I believe.
Yeah.
Or 500. It might be more than that, but I'm in the ship, so.
Yeah.
And set my exocortex to be like actively scanning and stuff.
Yeah.
Within the ship, while having this conversation with Echo in the cockpit.
You throw your exocortex out attempting to connect, and it hits a wall. Almost like you're like, oh yeah, let me put my exocortex over there. Boom, and it boom, 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 just bounces back. And the thing that it bounces against is something similar to your exocortex that is already working and working at a much higher pace.
It's like more than a tier 4 computer.
Significantly more. You had that sense already.
I'm only tier 4.
But these senses, the scanner is already working at above what would normally be a maximum capacity, just as a default. That is part of what the ship does.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna talk to Echo. Have they gotten into the cockpit?
They've been here for hours.
It goes fast. It goes real fast.
How did you think that the training went?
I liked it.
I was asking Echo.
Oh, sorry.
Gibbs just sitting there on their keyboard.
Could Bubs go find Gibbs at this moment?
Yeah, Gibbs is in the cockpit.
Bubs will probably find Gibbs and ask her to go to the med bay with him.
Okay.
Gibbs, you're really busy, but Shade'll just have to figure this out on his own. You put your keyboard down. You go with.
But I'm like, how's he gonna do this without me?
Bubs wants to talk to Gibbs about something.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Sure. So you guys go off to the med bay.
Yeah.
I fucking broke it again.
Every 5 seconds, I see that go back to Kara and then back to Ari.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I fixed it. Take it back.
So, Shade, Echo.
I apologize that I was not able to operate during the training at peak efficiency.
I understand. When we land, we should relay with the rest of the team. Formulate a plan for our next bounty.
Echo looks out the window and says, "Where do you plan to land?"
After we get through the asteroid field. We need to head to the mines. Seek them out.
Are we aware of which mines the fabled mines of Siren are referring to?
Based on the dossier that you sent, we should look in one of the more frequented areas.
I would like to counter that. These mines of Siren are legendary and contain great treasure, so I doubt they would be one of the more frequented locations. I also do not believe that the Vesk would willingly align themselves with Jacinto Corporation, as they are heavily reliant on Solari resources. So we can effectively rule out at least 2 of these asteroids. We should narrow it down to maybe a more out-of-the-way and difficult-to-reach location.
Your system split. For the first time, another ship. Not a ship. A space station. You had read about Canosa Station, the lone station still operating here, operating being a fiercely strong word. At its peak, maybe 7 years ago, it had a crew of 32. Now, probably fewer than 10. You see on your scans at the very, very edge, this station swirling in the midst, in this pocket of empty space, and all around it, just this debris field. Swirling around it. Somehow, perfect pocket of space around the space station, keeping it safe. There are 2 little satellites on either side of it that seem to not orbit it, but almost flank it. But that is what you see, and on your screen you see Canosa Station pop up.
Are we being hailed?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just alerting us that we're in its proximity. With my check, did I learn anything about Canosa Station aside from just...
It's a surveying station. It was a dual-purpose station that was primarily mining, Canosa Mining Corporation, but also as part of the funding, they partnered with companies like Jacinto to test out some prototypes. This was a place that was fiercely dangerous to get to. I mean, you can see all around you just wrecked ships. There's debris swirling at about 6,000 miles an hour here, and so that definitely takes a bite out of things as it goes through. And so the thing that you would really note, not a lot of ships that go in here leave. And so, for what it's worth, Shade's saying, we might want to check the more populated areas. The difference between the most populated areas here and the least, probably not tremendous.
But not nothing.
Not
and
nothing.
Every little bit counts.
Absolutely. I would also say you do learn those 2 stations, Canosa Ad Station 1 and Canosa Ad Station 2. They're like big... First of all, they blare out 24 hours a day commercials, but they also have big billboards on them.
What's on the billboard?
You can't see it from this distance. It's pretty far away.
Echo kind of like side eyes the station. As Canosa Station is operated by jointly Canosa Corporation and Jacinto Corporation, it may be wise to avoid it. We would not want to tip off anyone looking for us.
Would Jacinto be looking for us right now? Or Canosa?
For what you know,
I guess
there's no real reason
Rather
for Jacinto.
not looking for us, but
I will say, for what it's worth, just to be clear, this was established as a joint venture to like get here and everything. Canosa Station, owned by Canosa.
Oh yeah.
Jacinto had this mining module that was part of like this, almost like multiple companies putting something onto a spaceship to get it somewhere, and then that splintered off. And I would say with that check, that eventually ended up on Siren 21C2.
But Jacinto money was involved.
Yes, certainly.
How does that relate to Tombstone?
I mean,
What is-
whatever you've drawn. I mean,
I don't know if there's any affiliation with him.
We are looking for the mines of Siren, are we not?
Ultimately, yes, but they are elusive, to say the least.
And finding them would not be helped by corporate interest.
But if anyone is going to know, it would be one of the megacorporations.
And they would not willingly share such desirable information. Are you suggesting something different? And Echo, meaningfully, kind of glances around the cockpit.
She's been on that from the get-go. Perhaps we should send out a small reconnaissance party.
Might I suggest extremely small?
Agreed.
A reconnaissance party of one.
Who do you suggest?
Echo slow blinks. You may not be aware of my history, but I do have some background in this area,
Understood.
and news may not travel quickly to this part of space.
Take the shuttle. Keep your sensors low. Don't let them know that you're coming in. Only go to see what's happening. Try not to make contact and return to us.
Understood. I shall return in 24 hours. If you do not hear from me by then, assume that I am lost.
Understood.
Echo goes to make preparations.
okay, no problem. You go to make preparations. Meanwhile, the two of you make your way to the med bay, but because it is 9:30, this is where we are going to end for this evening. We'll start with the two of you next week when we reconvene for Mosaic Team 5 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. A lot of stuff happened, even though it was just a drift episode.
Yes.
A lot of
I
stuff.
love the
Drift
drift
episodes are my
episodes.
favorite.
I love
I've
them.
said this every time. The drift
Yeah.
episodes are
Drift
the
episodes.
best.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
We can
Me
just
the
let
whole
all the
time.
fucking bubble and drama come out.
Bubble and drama.
Bubble and drama. Yeah, it really is.
Oh, I didn't even pun not intended.
There you go.
Tragic about the candle.
The candle. I don't know. I love the candle. I think it worked out great.
Yeah,
But thank you so much for hanging out with us for this session of Mosaic Team 5. We will be back next week. We will, if you can't wait until then, you could join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Courts of Everest, whereupon we are going to be hopefully returning to the Emerald Spire, but I guess we'll see because we're in the Basalt Ribs.
Nothing has gone wrong. We
Right
love
on
mirrors.
track, everyone.
I
We'll be
feel
there
that everything is going
tomorrow.
very great. But to see more about what that might mean, join us tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, please stay safe. See you next week.